Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre, and rumor says some days I still click the magnum opus. How's everyone doing? I don't even know what day of the week it is today. Oh, no, sorry, I know what day of the week it is. I said it already. It's a Tuesday, but it's like September already. How's everyone doing? Carrie Potter, nice Tuesday streaming. How you doing? Yeah, Tuesday streams. Jihad as well, getting used to Tuesday streams. What a great thing to have. It's been really nice for me as well. Turns out I really like streaming, and so like having to wait a week to do it again, sometimes it gets to you. So it's good to be here. Leon as well, hype. Yo, Tuesday stream time. Eric, how did the Arkham go? I didn't get to check it live. YouTube, Neon Static. Every time I tune in, I wish there was an easy way to find the names of all the intro music pieces. Claire, how's it going? Unfortunately, so it's not like a what's it called? A playlist somewhere. It's like music that's been curated off of a service that I pay for. So there is like every month or so somebody asks me that question, and then I list like all the songs. That song is called Where's Lulu? Bet you were having fun. I think Where's Lulu might be the artist. It does sound a bit like the what's it called? The Where's My Mind kind of song. So that makes sense. But bother me, and then I can write the whole list of like what the music is, because it's varied, it changes. I add stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. JNet's being very buggy lately. It's been really buggy last week. I don't know if it's any better. We're gonna find out together. Eric did some like tabletop streaming. This is Eric from Neon Static. Fortune and Folly, which is like a real smacker, a real slapper of a campaign, or a scenario, a standalone. Unfortunately, it's a two-part. It's long, right? It went well. I ended up doing part 1 of Fortune and Folly. Plan to finish with part 2 pretty soon, slash tonight. Fortune and Folly is really, really, really cool. I've only played it in 3 players. I think it's probably it scales really well into 4 players, because it gives everybody like you sort of like heistian roles where like you're the bruiser, you're the face, and it's like really fun to have the whole team work together for the plan to come to action. I always forget that option. Wait, which option? I found Shazam. That option works pretty well to figure out what the music is, Claire. I made myself a little Metropole playlist on Spotify. Yo, Leon, share that with me. I had no idea. Also, a lot of the music just isn't on Spotify. Like, people will ask me and I'd be like, sorry, you can maybe find this track on YouTube, but like a lot of the artists are smaller, right? So it's, they're not exactly everywhere. How's it going, Scrub? Tuesday afternoon stream, chills. Understanding the format of Tuesday streams is really funny, because like I want to go through the news, and I probably will. Pat will be here on Thursday, so we go through the news again maybe, but like that's going to be the growing pains of figuring out what's going on. Real quick, actually, talking about the channel, this stream is a bit special. This is the 600th video on the channel. 600 videos. It says 599 here, but that's because this is before the stream went live, and it will be counting itself as a video. And we just hit 6.5 thousand subscribers, which is a pretty like ludicrous number. The number always keeps going up. It's like, oh cool, we just hit 5,000. It feels like that was maybe 6 months ago, and then it's like 6,000. It's like 6.5, and it just keeps going up, which is really, really cool. If you like this sort of content, if you want to hit that subscribe button, it costs you nothing. You get some notifications when we go live. But 600 videos, it's like over. Oh man, I don't want to pull up can I pull up the analytics right now? But the amount of like watch hours on this channel is like, it's millions. It's like very easily millions, and that's because we put like 12 hours of content out every month or every week or whatever. On that note, we're editing together the Canadian Canadian Nationals gameplay. I'm trying to get them out as soon as next week. We're editing in the same way that we edited together like some of the older stuff on the channel. So like if we go to oldest, in fact, okay, this stuff is really old. I don't like listening to this stuff all the time. I get a bit embarrassed. Okay, we have to watch an ad. But this sort of like tabletop with overlays, it's turning out pretty nice. I gotta like edit them a bit. I think I've done 8 of the top 10, and we're gonna start there obviously before we go to the Swiss. And I gotta get commentary over it. The one thing that's bumming me out a bit is that like the quality of the camera, it's this exact same camera that I used 8 years ago, and the quality of the camera itself is like not amazing. I think that's the next thing I need to upgrade if we're gonna upgrade something on this channel, if we want to do more tabletop stuff. But otherwise, woo, clear sleeves. Back in the day you could do that. Yeah, we're going back to this like tabletop play stuff, and it's like really fun to get back onto doing the thing that I did 8 years ago, and how much better I am at it, which is hopefully it's good. You have to watch an ad for your own content. Oh yeah, I sit around, I book myself out for like 2 hours on Tuesday nights, and I just sit there and I open every single video on the channel and I just watch the ad. I think that's actually illegal. I don't do that, obviously. But yeah, you have to watch it. That's an awesome achievement. Thanks, Eric. On track for a YouTube plaque by 2050? I don't even think it is that. Like, in theory, growth is meant to be exponential, but like Netrunner, it's only so big. So yeah, the YouTube plaque is like at 100,000, I think. So it's pretty wild. Dang, 600, congrats. Yo, thanks, Alec. Massive. Did you get your cards, by the way? Cat, I'm doing well. How are you doing? You doing all right? Trillion, how you doing? I forgot to ask for the folks who came up, especially I know we talked about Trillion. Did you end up getting Montreal Bagels? I haven't seen Alex yet. Hashtag parent life. Okay, well, you'll find him. Zombie also, how's it going? Thanks for joining the Patreon. I got the notification on, I think, the last stream of the stream before. Very much appreciated. Watching ads for 2 hours probably makes you like 50 cents of money. Yeah, no, it's really bad. One thing I do want to shout out that is actually really, really cool that doesn't get enough attention is that they have something called YouTube Premium. I'll be honest, I don't pay for YouTube Premium, but YouTube Premium is the thing that you can pay like monthly, and then it gets you can watch without ads. You can also have a bunch of extra features on the mobile app. But the reason why I say YouTube Premium is pretty cool because I think a lot of people understand that it supports content creators like incredibly directly. When I look at like how much revenue I get from YouTube, it divides it like this is the revenue you get from ads, which is like some number, and then this is the revenue you get directly from people who watch your channel that pay for YouTube Premium because they don't get shown ads. Part of their monthly whatever subscription just goes to whatever they watch. And that number is like way bigger than I thought it would be. It's not as big as the ad revenue because not that many people have YouTube Premium, but like if you don't want to watch ads and you think that like hurts content creators, YouTube Premium like directly pays the people you watch, which is like kind of a cool system. Do you think Netrunner will continue to grow? I think Netrunner will continue to grow. I think right now, like Netrunner's in a really exciting spot, but I think Netrunner also has like some issues where growth is really difficult. I think once we're in a point where like you can get, play standard by just going to nullsignalgames.com, I think that's probably one of the best things for the growth. But like Netrunner will grow off of like it's really interesting to look at like Netrunner players right now. Maybe you're watching the stream. You can identify how and when you got into the game. And usually there comes in like waves, like it comes in cycles, right? Like I think one of the newest waves is probably the shut up and sit down wave, the second shut up and sit down wave. But generally it takes like a big release, a big set, and then people come in and stuff like that. On that note, like I think there's a huge interest to get like Netrunner cross-contaminating into other like card game spaces so people understand about this game, because this game, its community is, for better for worse, a fair bit smaller. So I think the biggest growth issue right now is like the fact that getting into playing organized playing standard where you have to proxy is a hurdle that a lot of other games don't have to produce as much as it is free. Waves of big promo cards and card release, I think. The new sets are like obviously generate a lot of conversation online. That's really important. Hey, Haladri, how's it going? I didn't, Izzy and Dan did though. I want to hear what they all think. Swiss YouTube Premium user here enjoying your content. Ah, there you go, Dan. How's it going? Appreciate it. You're welcome. Oh, cheers, zombie. Yeah, so that's like my thought of it. Like, I don't know. Netrunner, a lot of people play it. Like that's the thing is I don't actually have a good understanding of how many people watch this channel that interact with Netrunner as like a tabletop, kind of like a board game. It's like, oh, it's a thing I like. I play it with a couple people and that's that. Or how many people watch this channel who are like, hey, I play on JNet. I go to organized play. I'm prepping for Continentals, right? Like who play it more as a lifestyle game. I'm like pretty sure that maybe the viewers of this channel are closer to the second because, they've invested a bit more to find this channel. But the vast majority of people who play Netrunner and have ever played Netrunner do not go to organized play, do not compete, do not Netrunner DB deck lists. Like that has to be said. The majority of people who like buy content, even from NSG, who find them at conventions, do not go to events. So like, if you're watching this, firstly, you should go to events. They're like kind of the best thing ever. But secondly, it's like, yeah, I feel like there's so much needs to be done to pull those people maybe in a bit more, but I don't know. Acquisitions, I'm not an acquisition guy. I don't actually know. As much as we all love JNet has some issues and a decent app would be so nice. Yeah, it'd be really good. It definitely seems to be growing, and I'm going to Ireland Nats this weekend. Hey, Con, and apparently it's double the numbers of last year, which is nice. Firstly, Con, hopefully you have a great time at Irish Nats. I don't think you won't. Let us know how it goes. Thanks for going out there. I think the numbers for things are definitely growing. Netrunner, for those who've been like really, really, you know, who are got into the game recently, like the Netrunner numbers used to be massive. Where like you go to Gen Con, it would sell out. There'd be like Continentals or a Nationals at like 300 players. Like that was pretty common, circa between 2013 and 2015. That's when like Netrunner was top of Board Game Geek. It was like the coolest card game that, you know, everyone adored. Unfortunately, the meta was bad for a bit. And then a lot of people fell off, but currently right now it is definitely growing. I know organizing like CanNats, we saw bigger numbers than we've ever seen in Canada, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Our CanNats was 40 players. I think the biggest CanNats ever has only been like 67, maybe 70 players. So like that's within spitting distance next year maybe. But it's definitely growing, and I think that the accessibility of the sets have been a really huge help. Played my first standard game over the long weekend. My eco fell flat and I lost an op. Oh no, Spark, what are you playing? Jane's a tad better today. Yesterday was bad, but I had to cut it short because of it. Oh, that's rough. Facebook keeps shooting me random MTG groups discussing proxies. I always get a bit tingly waiting to rep for Netrunner. Yeah, people don't like that though when you challenge that directly. I assume it's like 80% the latter. The others probably aren't finding this content. Yeah, I agree. I don't watch content for most kitchen table board games I play. I wonder if JNet would be improved if not written in closure. I don't know anything about that, but that being said, it's like even the games that I play casually, like we played our first game of Brass Birmingham in like 3-4 months. And like I have interest to go online to be like, can someone just give me a 10-minute video to be like how not to be ass at Brass Birmingham? And like I don't think I'd watch a Brass Birmingham YouTuber, but like it's an overwhelming game. So there's some midpoint maybe for some people. Midnight stream. Hey Jai, how's it going? Buckle up. It's just nearly Wednesday, huh? What do you think are the best ways to acquire new players for a local scene? Oh, okay. The most direct and easy ways to acquire players for a local scene. I want to say firstly that I'm not the best to answer this question. There are a lot more people that have done better jobs at producing local scene stuff. Unfortunately, most of my effort goes into this channel and doing the sort of global scene. So like I'm not doing that much on a local level, barring like organizing CanNats. That was like maybe the biggest thing that I've done for better or for worse here. If you want to listen to people talk about it, check out Neon Static specifically, because they basically started as, hey, we wanted to start a local scene in New Hampshire, in this sort of area in the northeast of America. What you really need to do, and I recommend this to so many people who just want more Netrunner players, go to a local game store, if you have local game stores, and talk to whoever's there and explain like, hey, I play Netrunner, I'd be interested in playing Netrunner, I'd be interested to teach anybody Netrunner, and then get up, if you can, a poster or something like that has like a QR code that links to a Discord server that you can spin up for free, and just have a space where people who are interested in Netrunner, they can just contact you. Even if it's an email address, whatever it is, you want to make it as accessible as possible, because again, like I forget what the numbers are, but like 90% of people will not do the very basic thing you want them to do. Only 10% who are really, really hardcore will do it. And like going out there and making a space where people can like talk and understand, and then be like, hey, you want to show up Tuesday? Play in a public space. That's also a really big thing. If you and your friend are the only players playing Netrunner, try and go to a game store and play Netrunner publicly, so people can see it's there. They can ask you questions. You can be like, I brought some demo decks. But there's a bit of legwork to be done. But luckily with now like Discord, and I guess classically with Facebook groups, just making a space and putting posters out there, putting like, you know, getting people involved is incredibly important. And like, I think there's so many people right now in Netrunner who want to play more Netrunner, but don't, because they don't have a community. They don't have people to play with. And there's so many other people who feel exactly like you, that if they saw a poster at their game store that said the word Netrunner on there, they would lose their minds. So like very, very easily, you need some sort of lighthouse. You need some sort of thing that pulls it out. Thanks for the shout out. Episode 6 focuses a lot on starting a new scene. It worked for us really well. Yeah, Neon Static was talking about putting up like QR codes and getting people to the New Hampshire group, and then being like, oh, we come here every Tuesday. We're trying regular events also really helps. That people can look and be like, every single event, every month we'll have at least a CO or a GNK. Even if it doesn't have organized play support behind it, just some sort of organized play. I think one of my favorite things about Montreal is that we haven't done them for a while now, but whenever we'd had a CO, after the CO or the GNK ended, while everyone was still there before we leave, we would decide a date for the next CO or next GNK. So everyone would be aware the next thing was there, and then we would keep going. And that was really nice. That helped a lot. I miss Brass chat. Let me catch up on chat. I think part of the problem is still that people have bad vibes with certain FFG cycles and or remember the game died and have just lost track of it. It takes rotation and media outages. Yeah, Nemirov, how's it going? You see that a lot on this channel, like people like swing into the chat and say like, wait, this game is still around. And then, it's hard for that, to be like, oh yeah, it's on this website, go in, get some stuff, do some research. Like you need to make it as much as possible. You need to do the work for people as easily as possible. I wish I had a very simple link, and maybe I need to make a chat bot. That's probably about time that we have it on at least Twitch. I don't think YouTube does it that well. That like you hit !NSG and it takes you to the system gateway page, something like that. Claude is not as prevalent as I expected in Intercontinentals. Yeah, Diogen, how's it going? That's actually a really interesting question. And we can look at the deck lists, but like, besides the outfit, I don't think there's any deck you would expecting at Intercontinentals that would fast advance, unless somebody pulled in, what's it called at the last minute? I don't know, Sports Metal as like a real big pivot, but I think that's a pretty rough pivot. But that being said, Claw was in all the Shaper decks, and it was in like 2 of the Anarch decks, so that takes you to maybe a third of the field. But yeah, I played Padma. Nice. Loans early, baby. Okay, there's the talk. Ian, loans do not escape me. I think loans is the best action you can take in the game. Cube. Kyle, what's going on? The best way to get new players is to get shucks to happen in your city. Yo, that is real. Pat and I were joking that we need to convince NSG to let us have the null signal games booth for like an afternoon at Shucks and just let us sell the game as we do. Because it'd be so much fun. I think it'd be genuinely a lot of fun. Pat has gone to Shucks consistently. I've never been. It's on the bucket list. But yeah, if you need volunteers for the Shucks boost, NSG, I'll come out. It'll be good fun. Netrunner's number 71 on BGG top 100, which I think is pretty great. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's like obviously really good, but it used to be like 1 or 2, right? Like it definitely gets a lot fewer eyeballs on it. The Bushi blueprint? My local group? Oh, the Bushi blueprint. Yeah, also Bushi. Dan B is another person you can ask. He's very generally accessible online. He does a lot for like 80 people coming down to East Coast Nationals. That's not a coincidence, right? Like Dan does a lot of work. He's in a lot of communities talking about Netrunner. My local group imposed a 2-minute turn rule for brass and really improved the experience. We're only the 2 of us, so like if we're not making turns, we're just staring at into each other's eyes. So it's not that bad. I've been meaning to ask, are there recommended demo decks that aren't the gateway ones? No, I think it's just the gateway ones. I think the gateway ones are really good. I don't know enough. Lost Geek has this sort of like Project Crow thing. He was recently talking about it. I've heard that name, but I wasn't sure what it is. And they're meant to be like escalating demo decks that go from like start system gateway and system update all the way to standard. That sounds really cool. The meta also, a killer having Flashpoint gone turns a huge boon for the game. Oh yeah. The thing is, like, I don't think the majority of people who like are like kind of reticent to and jump into standard are aware of the sort of changes. So like, as somebody who talks about Netrunner, and I know Jeff, you too, like we have to be very obvious that like right now the meta is the nicest it's ever been. It's the most wide it's ever been. It's the most accessible. You're not getting NPE'd out of nowhere. Like it's a really, really good meta, but to understand that you have to know the card pool. And so it's a bit difficult. Also, Jeff, how are you finding the new changes to Wild Frost? I've been like really into it. I didn't realize there was a true ending. Now I'm working on that. Wild Frost changes have been really good. Still a niche game, starting a scene from scratch is super hard. Start with some friends and acquaintances first, and then you can have regular meetups. It helps if you're at least 2 people. You only need to have 2 people, and then if you have 2 people, you can go out somewhere and play in public, and then you can put out, like, come to our Discord. You could play one of us, right? Like, there's a lot of ways to get in there. Atea Fast Events? I think Atea Fast Events would have been a surprising pick in Intercontinentals, but I think that is one of the like, and hey, if you're at Intercontinentals, we interviewed the winner, and he went on to say like there's so much in the set that seems competitive that hasn't been explored before, and I totally agree with that. Like we saw Sokka play Atea Fast Events at one Continentals 4 days after the set came out, and I've seen no competitive Atea Fast Events, and I think there's so much in the set that is not even quietly, but like there just isn't enough time in the day to discover it. Like it's probably really good. Hey Cody, how's it going? Izzy, how you doing? Izzy, how are Montreal bagels? Also, thanks for joining on stream last week. I think that one turned out quite well. And did you hear that Lost Geek says it's gonna get banned? Yay, bah! How's it going? I'm with Jeff on this one. Flashpoint Gone seems to really spruce with the meta ton. Yeah, exactly. BGG really does NSG nerdy in how they describe the project. Oh, is it really bad? Does Null Signal Games have a page? Augustus, how's it going as well? Shout out for, again, more good content last week for Egg Infusion. Not getting NPE? Did you just stream that awful Keeling deck? Yeah, but it's going to get banned. Lost Geek basically says that Keeling is largely going to get banned before Worlds. Okay, as I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but if you watch the Null Signal, podcast that just came out, I think yesterday, he basically said, I wouldn't count on training that deck for Worlds. So I wouldn't be surprised. Really enjoying most things except the start changes. Kind of want them to go back to the more restrictive. That's what I found out too, Jeff. It's like I'm opening every single flag to see the 3 options in them and then just picking the most busted one. So it's like I wasn't the one who like picked a character I didn't like and then just threw the run to get another character, which like I imagine a lot of people did who are competitively minded. But I agree. I do like the fact though that I can be like, today I really want to play. Yo, how to get the acorn achievement? There's not enough cards that give acorns. Wildfrost not getting the props it deserves in general. Wavioli, how's it going? Wildfrost is really, really good. Actually, okay, hold on. We haven't done this in a bit. I need to shout out this game. Unfortunately, I'm shouting it out too late. Me was a German games studio that made, I think, like 3 of my favorite. They put out 4 video games. 3 of them are my favorite video games of all time. And they put out this really niche genre that they don't want to call stealth RTS, but they call them strategic stealth games. In short, how the games play out is they're kind of like top-down games, and you control your units by clicking like it's in a real-time strategy game, and then each unit has like 2 or 3 powers, kind of like a MOBA, that make them very interesting. And it's a stealth game where enemies have view cones and you have to sneak up and you're avoiding alarms, saving and loading to, like, you know, you mess up, you don't want to break, you almost never want to break stealth. It's actually a big part of the game. They recommend you to constantly be saving. And Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew came out like last month. It came out a couple of weeks ago. This same studio put out Desperados 3, which is basically this exact same game, but in cowboy era. It's amazing. They also put out the Shogun games, which are this, but in feudal Japan. They're all fundamentally very much the same game with a different narrative and a different paint and different characters and some different mechanics, but largely the view cones, you can crouch through the shadowy part, you can not through it. And these are day one buy for me on everything. Unfortunately, these games are not selling well, and this is the last game the studio will put down. They are closing out, which is so sad to hear after a week after this game came out. 95% overwhelmingly positive. This game has gotten no press. This could easily be my game of the year this year. They're so good. And I'm a big stealth boy. Like, I love stealth games, and it's just so fun. The characters are really goofy because they're undead pirate stuff, so they're way stranger than some of the other games. This is the cook. This person can shoot people out of a cannon. I haven't unlocked them. But if you like stealth games and you like a bit of strategy, some RTS, and I'm not an RTS person, can't recommend this enough. There's even a very, very generous demo if you want to try it out. It's great. Like the old Commando games, exactly like the old Commando games. Do watch out if you play this on console, which it is on console. I think it is on Game Pass. It plays entirely different because you don't have point and click. Anybody you control with like one thumbstick, and it's a very different game on console because you can't like queue up a lot of actions, and it's like trying to play StarCraft on a console. It's obviously playable, but it's just fundamentally a very different game. Cannot recommend this game enough. Also, Wild Frost slaps, but that's what I've been playing. Hey, Changeling, how's it going? Good to see MPG. I don't know what that means. Is he top tier guest? Sorry, Pat. Yeah, Izzy was a great guest. Thanks for having me. Montreal bagels were good. I'm still a New York bagel girl at heart, though. It's okay. I agree, since BGG has listings that are extremely product based, I think it would be a huge step if NSG could get their own official entry for the game to re-implements Android Netrunner. I think that'd be good. On that shout out, if you're listening, do you know what would actually be really big for Netrunner? If Netrunner could get it as a listing on YouTube. Because I put all my stuff on gaming, and you'll see if you watch the gaming section, I usually label the game I'm playing as card games, and then sometimes I label it as a joke based off of what we're playing. So last week was called Glaciered as a fun one. But yeah, it's probably saying right now we're playing Magic the Gathering. But if Netrunner could be searchable on YouTube, which is, I don't know how you get that done, that would actually be really, really big for helping on YouTube. Hey, Tulliville, good to see you streaming. What else is going to be banned? When is the SPL update? The SPL update, if there's going to be one, will be no later than 3 to 4 weeks before Worlds. I think Lost Geek said the exact date that he would think should be what it's expected. So that would put it within like a week or 2 from now. Again, I'm not NSG. They could be later because testing is a bit difficult. Getting the ban list right for Worlds is often the most important ban list, and sometimes they're a bit more conservative and they overban things they think are going to be toxic, which is fine. But yeah, it should be within the next couple weeks. Yeah, Me just closed. Such a bummer. Oh, the character that gives acorns on kills is phenomenal for me in practice. Stack things quickly with the guy that damages based on acorns. I just can't get to the 50 acorns for the achievements. Like, I think I just won one yesterday with the person who get like 3 acorns on kill, but like you get to like 18 acorns in a good run. I'm not a big Total War person, but kind of like that, I imagine, yeah. I don't want to be too harsh on Shadow Gambit, but Shadow Tactics is far better than it. Shadow Tactics, wait. That's the feudal Japan one, right? The Shogun Shadow Tactics. Yeah, Blade of the Shogun. Yeah, they're I wouldn't say one's better than the other, but they're the same engine. Shadow Tactics is great. The Shadow Tactics, even the small spin-off, is like really great. This is the company that did Shadow Tactics, yes. Yeah, that's exactly it, Dudalite. I purchased Desperados 3 last month, didn't know about this one. Desperados 3 is so good. MPG short for Metropole Grid? I don't even know my own brand. Thanks, Gently. Have you ever played Clay's Invisible Ink? Similar genre, but with Major Netrunner vibes. I have. Krylan Cello, how's it going? If you don't know, actually one of the lead devs at Clay back in the day was a big Netrunner player, and two of the devs at Clay actually had an old podcast called Terminal 7, which you might have listened to 5-6 years ago. It was great. But yeah, some of the folks at Clay were huge into Netrunner, and it's very obvious with Invisible Ink. Invisible Ink is another very, very good stealth roguelite. I found my mic stand this morning. Yo, for real though, Izzy, holding the microphone is cool, and I'm into it. Shout out to Marcus. According to the devs, they're closing down because the team is exhausted. I think the team is exhausted, but in their message, they were very clear that like the stealth tactics genre is not a sustainable genre, and they're the only people in it, which like, yeah, that's probably pretty hard. Yeah, it's really bummer. They announced it right away. But healing only sneaks up if you make a Helium 3 deposit Eternal deck. You're playing Hyperscape today? You're currently playing Hyperscape 2020? What? Like Ubisoft's Hyperscape? How do we get there? The developers for Invisible Inc. cited Netrunner and some kind of behind the scenes stuff, in particular kind of sure gamble ability. Yeah. 5 for 9. There was an Adonis campaign. There was like a Parasite. Yeah, Nels and Jesse from Terminal 7. Okay, I just want to show the deck list of the week really quickly. We're not going to play it because we'll play it on Thursday, but this is the one that won Canadian Nationals. Hey, that's Chromatically, and that's me after a long day. Shout out. This is so cool. We talked about this story a bit on stream. 7 years in the making. I was like, when Steven showed up at the event, I'm like, you seem pretty familiar. And I was like, oh my God, that's Steven from CanNats. I said the story on channel before, but like Steven was playing at CanNats in 2016. He's on the channel. I forget this game exactly, but this is on the channel. This is Steven versus who? I think I have titles. I just don't know how soon they come out. Oh, this is Julien Deville. So this is Steven on the left, and on the right, that's Julien Deville. They were the top table. They played Radlands against each other, like, 7 years later during Swiss. But these two players are still both playing the game and grinding it. Both of them made the top 8, which is fantastic. Also, Steven went on to come in second place, losing in the finals in 2018 Canadian Nationals. I also played and made top 8 at that Canadian Nationals as well, and that was the other playmat that he brought. So this is a long time coming. Steven has been at every single Canadian Nationals I've been at, and he's made at every top cut I've been in, besides this year, which I didn't play. Some of y'all have a great memory. Yo, the like YouTube thumbnail, the description there. But like, yeah, it's so cool to see it that he finally like went back and took it and played this like really good Hoshiko deck. I think all the gameplay we obviously have of Steven that's going to be coming on the channel is very good, like very clean play. We're in double Hermes, a single Wake, 1 Carmen, also on 1 Noom. So we have 2 options, 1 killer. It's a bit better into some of the bigger stuff. I think mostly the outfit. Then we're still in 3 Fermentor, no Botulus. The Banhars looked really good. We've seen him Banhar through a toll booth or 2 throughout the day. That's like, I think one of the big differences between this deck and some of the decks you're seeing at Continentals. And I love the one of Finality. Again, this deck doesn't run Stargate, so the only multi-axis, if I'm not mistaken, is the twinning, which was immensely powerful at the day of the event, because we actually did have a whole bunch of hyper glacier where we had people that it was very hard to make small runs, so you had to make big runs to see 3 cards. So the twinning, let alone the twinning Finality, and then the Wake and Plant were very good choices. So yeah, Wake twinning is a classic combo. It's neat. I wonder how good this card has been. Like, it's good to get you HQ pressure, which the deck doesn't have. We're not even playing DJ Fenris anymore, which I feel like that card is not doing as much as it used to for some reason. But yeah, very good list. One of Leech also, just to get more value running archives. I think this is a really good Hoshiko list. And if somebody wants to learn the game, I think this is actually a very easy list to get people into the game so they feel powerful. And a lot of the pieces of the deck encourage you to move forward and play in the way that I think is probably for the best. I think the only tricky thing with this list is understanding the power of the 1-ofs and in which matchups you want to play these and which you don't. But a very good list otherwise. Well, it's a great list, but for teaching new players, it's a good list. We'll play this on Thursday. After some brief Googling, it took looks like to get the game added to YouTube, Google crawls Steam and Wikipedia and adds them that way. Since not on Steam, that's an issue. We'll poke it more. I wonder if it is. Yeah, I think I've seen like postings about that on forums, but they're really old. But I don't know what has to happen. There's games that have a Netrunner-like name on Steam and they show up in the listing. All right, today I want to build something weird. We're gonna be streaming for a couple hours today. And I want to try some of the weird Hoshiko decks that we haven't, not Hoshiko, sorry, the weird Arissana decks that we haven't seen so far. So let's build a weird Arissana deck. When Endurance wasn't banned, I gave my girlfriend Bochiko and got absolutely wrecked. Yeah. Very interestingly talking about that deck too. Lost Geek was talking about how one of the problems maybe with Boat and Startup is that the ease to play it, like it's okay to, okay, I think this is a really cool point, but basically he was saying that in Standard, Endurance might be a bit more tenable because it's a very powerful card that's easy to play, but corporations might be more equipped to punish the downsides of it. And that's not exactly the case in Startup. I think obviously you still have Retribution, but that's a really interesting angle of it where like you have to balance the two metas differently on the basis that newer players are going to be playing one meta and they might not have the ability, the card pool, but most specifically the ability on a macro scale to be able to punish the very easy payoff cards that the opponent has. And I think that's a really cool way of looking at it. Is there any reason to play anything else than Hoshiko at the moment realistically? It's like such a hard question because, okay, we're going to shout out again, the last episode of Null Signal Station came out that had Lost Geek as the main guest talking about upcoming ban changes and what the SBL does. And it's a really good listen. Lost Geek is very well spoken. The questions from the NSG team, really good. But one of the things was asked about Hoshiko, and Lost Geek wasn't as hard on Hoshiko as I think you would expect most people to be. I think he said some things accurately. It's worth knowing that this was filmed before Intercontinentals, and it was said that, like, you know, Hoshiko's doing really, really quite well. And Hoshiko was probably the obvious choice for something like APAC, because APAC happened 4 days after the new set came out. So it was not the most ambitious deck that you had to change. So it's really easy to take something that's, you know, well-tuned and change it minimally and go from there. Where if you look at something like Arissana was the sort of deck that I thought would pop off at EMEA, the final Continentals, because then you needed the 2 weeks to like figure the deck out to get the reps in to actually tune the deck, because it's an entirely different engine as opposed to Hoshiko, which, you know, is pretty straightforward in a lot of ways that she attacks. That being said, if you ask me, if you look at some of the results, like if you go to Always Be Running, I don't know if Hoshiko is quote unquote the best deck in the format, but she is producing the best results most consistently, and I think she's the easiest to play. I think there's a chance that she is not even the best deck in the format, but right now the results numbers would kind of, you know, it's hard to ignore the results numbers at least. So if we go to not format, say we go to type and we go to like Continentals, we can see how many, every single Continentals was won by Hoshiko. Intercontinentals, mind you, was won by Hoshiko. If you look at the Continental spreads, so like APAC I think is the worst one. If you go to EMEA though, which is now 3 weeks after, if you look at the top 16, it's half Hoshiko. But there's still a lot of decks here that are competing obviously on par with Hoshiko, but obviously they're not winning the event. Only one person can win. Now, if you look at Nationals results, okay, so if we go Nationals, why won't you let me change you? I cannot change you? Okay, let's try this. Okay. If we go to Nationals and you look at the results of how many Hoshikos, and mind you, numbers here skew, so you kind of want to look at some of the bigger events, but like Canadian Nationals, Hoshiko, US Nationals, Hoshiko, Canadian Nationals West Coast Edition, only 18 players, Hoshiko, Australia, 16 players, won by Lou, smaller event, still, that's interesting. Spanish Nationals, 18 players, Hoshiko, Russian Nationals, only 12 players, ESA. This was in June, so this was before the new set, but whatever. But like, if you're looking at a continental and national levels of reported standard things, Hoshiko's winning like 80%, 85% of all events. And I think there's a mixture between, I think she's relatively easy to play and people know how to play her. And I think the deck is somewhat difficult to punish. Like the way that's getting punished is with like, Mavirus and certain ice choices. But yeah, I think chat's going to have some nuanced takes on this. I think on average, Hosh is like, because she's really well presented, I don't know if she has the best conversion rate, because, you know, the couple players who are playing the weird stuff know how to do it. I think Ari has real advantages over Hosh and Krim has angles as well. I think they do. I think you're right. I don't think that Hosh is definitively the best deck, but I think it is currently the best deck. But it might not be the best deck. Shaper was the third at Internationals. Hoshiko was 65. Yeah, exactly. Like the numbers are very, very Hoshiko favored if you look at the results. I really like Man in the Moon's write-up. His takes on Hoshiko are interesting. I haven't seen the write-up yet, but that Hoshiko deck was so interesting. I don't know if I agree Hoshiko should be banned, but if you read the 419 ban article, Hoshiko's the exact same thing. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. It's like, What will it take for people to play other Anarchs? And I think there are reasons. I think Lu and Freedom have their own engines. Admittedly, I think most of the other Anarchs in Standard are just not worth playing. Like, I don't think there's anything you can do to make them more competitively viable. Like, if you just ban out the good IDs, I don't think you end up playing Quetzal. I don't think you end up playing Reyna. I think you just end up playing another faction, because playing Quetzal when you could be playing Ari is a bigger cost to ask. Maybe Reyna is an easier person to, unfortunately, punch down on. Anarch has very good cards, and Hoshiko gives you drawn money. Makes sense. That's a big thing that I've been saying on this channel, is like, when you look at an Anarch deck, the way that they spend their influence is, I wouldn't say exactly on luxury, but it's next to luxury. It's like fundamentally in faction, they have everything they need. You could build a competitive Hoshiko deck that spends 0 influence. It would obviously be worse than the one that spends influence, but you could spend this deck with 0 influence and it would be okay. And I think that's one of the big things right now, is that like Anarch has so many good fundamental pieces. And that's the problem too, is like, do you ban liberated accounts? Heaven forbid. Do you ban Fermenter? Do you ban Paladin? And what does that do to Hoshiko versus what does that do to the entire faction? And maybe it doesn't do that much to the entire faction if some of the other people like Lu or Freedom are playing different economy engines that Hoshiko isn't exactly. I think she has the most level / least divisive matchups for things Corps are doing. The other good runners have more great and bad matchups, whereas Hosh is more of a mid-band across the board. Yeah, I think she's one of the safest picks. Good stuff Hosh is very flexible and easy to play. There are decks that are better against Corp strats, but since you need a deck that can beat any Corp strat, Good stuff deck is that way to go. And it's worth noting that like the meta potentially is like, you saw in Intercontinentals, there's like Ag Infusion, Keylink Glacier, and then there's like horizontal NEH Acid Spam. And Hosh is, I think, one of the candidates that's maybe one of the best, well, not the best maybe, but like doesn't sweat that wide gamut of decks it has to run into. I'd argue that Ari can be pretty good in both ways. Criminal also, it's a bit harder to build because you have to beat Criminal Glacier. You're generally playing a bit different. Shout out to the special loot deck from Australia West Nads. For long tournament, yo Lori, how's it going? You want a runner deck that has solid averages and chances against everything. Need only a bit of luck to good matchups across the board. Yeah, and that's a really big thing, is when the events get bigger and it's like 10 rounds and then like a top cut, I can very much understand why people are playing Hosh. Reg Anarch floor, almost equal to ceiling, and it's pretty damn high. I came second with an absolute travesty of a runner because they had 2 Benhar in it. Kyle, you're okay. I just want to say that there's the sad stug filter of like self-deprecation that like we have to, you know, skew our data around. But the data point, we'll collate that. Your Corp deck I want to play on stream. It's so good. Hashtag ban DreamNet. Yeah, I think this card is goofy. It is goofy good in Hoshiko. And like goofy good specifically in Hoshiko. Nobody can play DreamNet really in a great way in the format anymore. But I think you're right. I think that's the one card that you could ban to like take Hoshiko down a consistent amount without largely affecting the rest of the field. I think that's the most obvious target. At least Freedom has to create an engine. Yeah. Will older, weaker, nearly never played cards be rebalanced, made stronger? It feels like such a waste of 70% of the cards completely unused. Hidden Sun, how's it going? I hear you. I don't think they will, but not in like an errata way. The way that older cards get better is by one of 2 ways. Either they get cards that will support them. So Cuban was unfortunately a pretty bad card for a long time, and now with Arissana out, Cuban is a slapper of a competitive card. It's a very important card to understand. It's going to be a 2 or 3 of in every Arissana deck. That's a cool way to take bad cards and make them reasonable again. The other thing that you can do though is get cards that are reprinted, that get near prints in the future. I think everyone's kind of hedging on the fact that System Update 2021 might not exist forever. So that like a card like, what's a good candidate for this? Okay, let's say Retrieval Run. Like Retrieval Run, Retribution. Retrieval Run doesn't see much play. You argue it could. You just need the right deck for it to work. But like you could see a card that has similar numbers to this, has a similar effect to this, but will be eventually reprinted and then it'll see play again. But I could imagine a deck in which Retrieval Run is actually a very core card. You'd have to be playing Femme Fatales probably, something really expensive. But that's the big thing, is that more so that you need other cards to show up to make the existing bad cards good. It's not like Null Signal Games is going to be like, oh, we changed the number on this card, because that's not how they balance things. Freedom doesn't have to play Knob. The problem is Reg Freedom is just a worse Hoshiko. Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of Freedom decks not play Knob. And yeah, it just feels like I'd rather have the card draw. Right? Like we even saw at like certain Continentals that people were playing a Freedom deck and just changed their ID to Hosh, cut Yusuf. They're just like, oh, I'm playing Consume. Like, wasn't that one of the decks that made it? Or was it a Lu deck? I think somebody from QTM was playing it. When I saw Sketchbook, hey Veronica, I was briefly hoping that this would be an Earthborn Ranger stream. Are you familiar with that game? We played it when it came out in very, very early access on Tabletop Simulator. It feels like it was 3 years ago. And I don't think we liked what we saw at all. I don't think that TTS is a great way to understand whether you like a game, because I bounced off a lot of games where that wasn't the case back in the day. But it's something I want to see what it looks like, because the last time we looked at Earthborn Rangers, I feel like it was 3-4 years ago. Andre, how's it going? Apex could play DreamNet? Yeah, exactly. But Apex is gone. It needs to see more play because I need to see more shuffle cats in my Netrunner. Trash Panda, Fast Panda. Katurga? Yeah, Katurga doesn't install the card though. Yeah, Kabo, how's it going? Near unconditional draw seems to be the best thing a runner can have. A ban of Hushigo would probably mean a ban of Lat. I think Lat's like kind of interesting. I think Lat is like in the camp of cards that I wish kind of didn't exist. Because unfortunately, I think there's probably a fair few Arissana decks that are just better than Lat. Not all of them, but like it's kind of, you know, generalist value is okay. That being said, I don't know if I'd love to play Lat into a Keeling meta. Just play Jaguar Rundy turn 1, turn Lat off. Yeah, I think Lat is better than Lat looks. 419, for what it's worth, doesn't seem to be, you know, doing that well. Hoshban feels reasonable to me only because she's a generic value ID. That being said, I agree that's... Sorry, it moved in the middle of that. That she's not that much better than other IDs right now. Yeah, she might not be, but I think she's easier to play. Entirely fair, and you don't have to love every game. Having just played a bunch of Earthborn is fantastic. Oh, glad to hear you're liking it. I haven't heard any reviews about it yet, so... Katurga came third at Cascadia? Yeah, Katurga is seeing play in Criminal, because Criminal kind of needs to play some weird cards. Because Criminal's in a weird spot, kind of. That's the thing, too, is like I think Criminal can probably pop off, but it's going to be on the basis of strange cards. If you like Arkham but would love to wander through woods instead of murder cultists, I think you'll like it. 419 is an unfun idea for a lot of players, and when you get into casual meta, players often want absolutely nothing to do with it. Yep. Yeah, people don't like playing against 419. I get it. Like, I'm not going to defend 419. I don't think 419 has to exist. But, like... I don't think 419 is really good right now, so if it gets banned, it's get banned because people don't want to play against it. I haven't seen any reviews. Andre isn't subscribed to me, confirmed. I am! Did you put a review? Because I saw you did the unboxing. Excuse me, Veronica, I'll check that out. A DreamNet ban hits Sable a bit as well. Yeah, but you always have, like, you can play the cybernetic one if you want to. Zenith if you need to. But yeah, but it's okay. Okay, so Arissana. We're going to try and play like Trojan-less Arissana as much as possible. So we're not going to build into the Trojan builds. We're going to build into the fixed strength, not the fixed strength breakers, but the ephemeral breaker suite. So one of the big power cards we have access to is Flame Out. Flame Out is a pretty goofy card. It costs 2 credits to install and you put 9 credits on it. So it's a 7 credit econ card. It can host 1 program. And when a turn ends in which you use the hosted credits, you have to trash the hosted program. That doesn't matter if we, are going to trash our program anyways because we installed it clicklessly with Arissana. So it is a unique card, but we can build a deck that can somewhat consistently throw at multi-axis, on central servers at a minimum, and that can be hard to interact with. The idea is that with Flame Out, we can, and this is where I'm not exactly sure which direction we want to go, is that we can always, for 1 credit, for no clicks, install a Mayfly mid-run, and then the Mayfly has 7 extra credits to work with on the run. Technically 9 credits, right? And that can potentially be very, very, very powerful if we just need to get in right now. Is Nanook considered ephemeral? And Nanook is considered ephemeral, but Nanook is not that much better than Mayfly, unfortunately. Like, the install cost does not help, and then the break costs are, like, not that different, but definitely ephemeral. I do not like Nanook. I did an unboxing video and talk about solo play. I didn't do a full review, also for subscribing. So I do know the video you're talking about. You trying to make me feel bad. So we can play that. The other big thing is that, like, we haven't seen this engine. So Euler and Gauss, we've seen more Gauss at top tables, is they're breakers that on the turn they come down, they have massively higher strength or higher abilities. So Euler breaks all code gate subroutines for 0, which means if we have an Euler in hand, we can get it down, and for that 1 run, we're going to be breaking all the code gates for 0. Issue here is that we can only Arissana once a turn, so it might be hard to actually use these breakers as opposed to Mayfly and have a bit more support, but we'll see how it goes, but that's definitely an option. Gauss comes in at 4 strength, that's pretty good. There's no killer equivalent besides like just having a gun, maybe that we unload and we don't care about having the gun once it's empty, so that's kind of neat. But the idea is that we have to win off of this, and I think we want to kind of look at the that like weird kit deck that was a bit better than it looked. Cyber Trooper Talud? Yeah, I think we might do Cyber Trooper Talud, but I'm not sure if Cyber Trooper Talud has an AI clause or not. So there was this like really fun kit deck. which basically did this sort of thing where it played control, and by control I mean it sat back and then it just delivered the twinnings with prepaid voice pad and then just saw a lot of cards. We have, for what it's worth, we don't need prepaid voice pad. We actually can use Urban Art Vernissage. It is a totally cromulent target for the twinning. That means we'll probably be playing some small amount of like things we have to move around, Trojans, but the twinning, then we make her Zai, we can just see 6-7 cards on R&D, and then they cannot stop us if, you know, Mayfly gets through everything. Talud doesn't like Mayfly? I don't know if Talud, it says non-AI. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Oops. It says non-AI. Okay, so if we're doing Talud, we have to be doing, what's it called? We have to be doing Oil and all that other stuff. Yeah, love the art on this card. Really cool art. Wish this card saw more play. So that's what we have to figure out what to do it. There's also a bunch of like other like really goofy tricks that you can do to get this to work a bit. What is that one that has the siege cannon on it? Oh, this one. So this is another one. Make a run. The first time you encounter a piece of ice during that run, you may search your stack and heap for a program and install it, ignoring all costs. When that run ends, add the program to the bottom of your stack if it's still installed. So if we're playing that sort of Euler engine, we can use this to get a program out, break all the subroutines for free, ideally if they're all code gates, and then just put it on the bottom of our deck, which means later we can shuffle our deck or get it to it later. This is super interesting. The problem is if we do this, we can't play Maker's Eye because it's a run event, but I think this is actually probably pretty reasonable if we're playing less so the Mayfly version, but more so the Euler Gauss version, which I think is pretty good. Big and by use of Cromulent. So we have to build the deck here. Let's try and get some package in here that makes any amount of sense, but I want to see how far we can go with these breakers. It's also worth noting that this is the sort of deck that can probably play World Tree. But I feel like that is two problems we have to solve, is how to make the deck engine work and then how to make World Tree work. And I wonder if that's a bit too ambitious, that we have to do like, we have to do a test, get some learnings, and then do a bigger test to come back to the World Tree. Cyber Trooper plus that resource that returns Trojans to hands look pretty good. Unfortunately, Cyber Trooper doesn't work with any Trojan, right? Because this is non-AI icebreakers, and the only Trojan that breaks ice, well, besides Ika, which like, yeah, that's actually okay. That's actually pretty fun, is the only other one Slap Vandal, and it is AI subtype, so it doesn't actually work. So unless I'm missing something, oh, and well, in theory, the other Trojan breaker is the silly frog. And the frog, like, yeah, it's okay. Rejig is good, probably. Yeah, Rejig is probably better than we think it is. I have attempted World Tree. It is unstable. You're missing the frog. Yeah, I think Ika might just be better than the frog, just because we want to be running and installing it, like, and doing our value shuffle anyways. Yeah, but yeah, it's unfortunate. It doesn't tell you, doesn't really work with much in the list. All right, let's try and build the non-Mayfly version. Remember Chameleon LLDS? This is the big thing. It's like Chameleon kind of works with this build. It's not an AI. It'll come down and it'll be 5 strength, which is good enough, and we can install it from hand. That's a really nice use of this thing, but then it goes back to our hand. Wait, that's fine. Can't we just do Arissana Chameleon? Is this not good enough? How bad is Arissana Chameleon? This seems like it's okay. Oh no, because it gets trashed. Never mind. It won't be there at the end of the turn. No, that's bad. That's bad. Yeah, bad Arissana will trash it. Yeah, we'd have to like cheat this out mid-run. And that's the thing, is like, do we have enough unique connections to play Palace Cafe? You're probably playing a bad deck at this point. Ika works with Tilud and Urban Art. Yeah, I think that's the best case we have. But Palace Cafe, as much as unique connections were advertised for the set, I don't think we got the unique connections that work fundamentally in any deck. Chameleon with Turbine is kind of interesting, but not good. Yeah, that's the problem with Cyber Trooper Retaliate. It's like, why play this when you can just play Turbine? Why play this when you can play Turbine? Like, it doesn't make any sense in like obvious, as much as this works at Palace Cafe. What about Chameleon with 2 turbines? Yeah, but then we actually can't break anything. Okay, let's try something else. Play both? Honestly, like, you probably don't, but yeah, why not? Okay, so let's try the Euler list. Let's play 2. Okay, so we want to have some amount of self-modifying codes to get them if we need to in a pinch. Probably actually play 3. We'll see. Simul Chip is really good because it allows us to shuffle our stuff. I think Rejig is totally fine. I don't think we want one in our opening hand, so we can probably get away with playing 2. Chisel Charm. I want to play more Chisel Charm, but that's like 700 influence. I think Devil Charm is like 5 influence. No, 4 influence? 2 influence. Never mind. Plongi Chameleon Turbine. It's like so much work, and it's not like even better than just playing, you know, Buzzsaw Turbine. But I hear you. Okay, let's get some more money in here. I think Urban Art Vernissage. Daily Cast is pretty playable. We need our win conditions, so we'll play Twinning 2. Unless we're playing... We either need a third Urban Art Vernissage, or we need to play a prepaid. You only need one chisel, it's fine. Okay. What else just makes sense in the list? I think we definitely want Maker's Eyes. We want Creative Commission. I don't know if we want to play Deep Dive because we're not doing it. I realized Chisel was a card this morning, and Parasite was busted, but how does Chisel eventually kill a piece of ice? Watch Intercontinentals, because it actually won. But the idea is that you can slowly work on it, or you can use something like Double Charm to immediately -6 strength. It works. It actually works pretty good. I feel like I need to search out really quickly some other Flame Out decks to see what people are playing, because there's probably some like incidental econ packages that are pretty good. Euler and Egret is very good. Oh, bah, that's actually a really good call. I like that a lot. I just want to see what other Flame Out decks are doing, because I've never played a functional Flame Out deck, but I understand they're like worth... Okay, well, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, this is a Chameleon deck. That's too old. Cordyceps? I don't think so. Okay, so this one plays Flame Out because it plays, you know, the kitchen sink. And so, like, we're going to ignore that. That's the issue with these decks is that, well, they, like, did the cool thing, but then they eventually stopped flaming out and they actually got, like, a real breaker suite. So, like, that actually might be more reasonable, is that we use Flame Out for early Mayflies and then we transition to a real breaker suite. That's worth keeping in our back of, you know, of our mind, but it's not where we're going to start. 1 Botulus, 2 Flame Out, 3 Chameleon. Say it always builds interesting decks. 3 environmental testing. That card's doing better than I think it is. Hushik on some number? What's Hushik on? 2? Hushik on 2. Okay. Gauss, Mayfly. All right. I don't think we learned anything. What about Monkey Wrench? I don't know if we need Monkey Wrench. Like, firstly, we have to play Hushes, but Monkey Wrench doesn't... I don't know. I don't know why we need this. Like, this becomes an econ card unless there's a part of our rig that doesn't interact with ice, which would be Chameleon. So I think if you do Chameleon, you could do it. But I think actually like Egret seems pretty nice. It's expensive. Poison Vial, Leon, I think we'll do a Poison Vial deck when we just do Poison Vial Slap Vandal. Like we have to do a very specific thing. The flies might have it, maybe good day. Sometimes somebody I sometimes trust said Monkey Wrench belonged in the binder. Yeah, it's like... You're seeing Ice Carver come back. That makes me happy. Let's just say that. Okay, hardware. We want our console to probably be... We obviously don't have a Fractor here. We'll play 2 Gauss, I guess. 2 Eka. We could do 1 Eka, 1 Living Mural just to see how it feels. Probably won't feel good. We'll get rid of this. We'll play 1 Turbine. Probably not necessary. Monkey Wrench might hit Chameleons, but Wolf Chameleon's pretty not great. But that's the thing is like just play Turbine. Just play Turbine. Like it doesn't do anything. It's not AI, right? Chameleon is weirdly not AI because it is a type. You charge it super easily and then extends the distance. May I recommend Takobi? Takobi also is non-AI, right? But like we're not gonna be breaking a lot of ice. We're gonna be breaking some ice. But Izzy, I do like Takobi. I just think Takobi's better in a deck that's breaking more ice consistently. The thing is like we're only making targeted super runs, so probably better just to have a Turbine, even if at all. This is not standard. That is better. I was like, that list is way too long. 3 pads? We have 7 influence? With 16 events, Onacom looks alright. Onacom looks alright. I don't honestly know if we want to pay 4 credits for this. Is 16 events enough? Monkey Wrench only worth considering if you're heavily invested in AIs, otherwise its options better, or you're doing like Ice Destruction that cares about strength. But like it needs to be a really weird subsection of all the other options that like you do not feel like you get enough value from Ice Carver and or Leech, which like you get a lot of value from those cards, let alone Double Charm, right? I love the Takobi Secret Sauce out of faction, but if you're Shaper, you probably always play Turbine. I think if you're Shaper, you do, yeah. But out of faction, it's a bit less influence, right? Living Mural is better than Eka if the server has 2 or more Sentry Big Ice. Functionally, yes. But not always in practice. Parisha charges twinning. Oh, that's a good call. That's a great call. Okay, I need to look at the kit deck because I don't think we have enough ways to win. So they are on a talk as well. Yeah, why not? We break ice sometimes. This is gonna be pretty bad. I wonder if we need exposed to be able to like know when we have to run. Like I think we can play some pinholes. We probably don't have enough money. Like I think we just want to sit back and get money. Like that was the big thing about this deck is that it's just sat back and get money. And I feel like we have too many pieces that are not doing that. So let's play telework contract because our urban art vernissage econ engine is not very good. Flame Out 3x might be a lot, genuinely. Yeah, I think we want to play pinholes. Okay, we have too many cards. We have to fix this. So what do we want to cut down? We'll see what this draw's like. We might need 3 of each of these. I'm not sure how far we can go off of just 2. Gotta test environment. I don't know if we install enough cards fast enough. Like we don't have Prague. We don't have a Gachapon. Like we have Onicom. I'm not sure if we want to do it. Prepaid's cute. Beth we can't play anymore. Daily cast telework. Okay. Jailbreak. Just get accesses. I like accesses. You like accesses? All right. I wonder if we can cut Parisha now. 2 egret seems like a lot. The problem like functionally with egret is you can only install it on a resed piece of ice. And that means that we're not installing from hand or Euler or Gauss. Has anyone gone ever so far to make Umbrella work? I've seen it. The problem with Umbrella is like it's very, very good. It's meta dependent, like giving card draw to any of the big ones that you're breaking really cheaply, like a Gatekeeper on res, that doesn't work. But cheaply breaking like a Vampira Nasa sort of, breaking an Atini. I feel like those are the matchups where you don't want to give card draw that much. But like breaking a Magnet, like it just doesn't deal with a bunch of the functional problems you have. But that being said, Umbrella Egret, like getting through an Anansi for 2 credits is pretty nice. I've seen it. It's like, it's okay. You can click one to install Gauss, then R8 to install Egret, but it's narrow. Yeah, but then when they have to res the ice, it's super, super narrow. Yeah, Compile is cute, though. Yeah, Compile is really cute. Okay, this is too many cards. I don't think this is going to be great. We also have 2 influence. I don't know if we need the pinhole threadings. Okay, this is our hand. So, how many Anacoms did this have? 3. But it had more events. Let's do that. Okay, so I do think we should just play 3 Mayfly, though. I think Mayfly is better than Egret. I think that's more consistent. It means that we can sign much of it a bit better. Always needs pinhole? I would say probably. Awesome seeing you live. I just watching the Izzy stream recording. Ian, how's it going? You a big Ag Infusion fan? Diesel or Nuka? I think we want to do Diesel because we're on Onicom. That would be my guess. Okay, this hand seems bad. Is the Turbine that necessary? Considering we have Gauss coming at 4 strength, Euler coming in at 2 strength. I don't think we're going to get that much value from this. We're not running that much. 54 cards, checks out. 2 Hush is like... If we're not running that much, do we need Hush? Do we need this? I finally got to make Netrunner content. Thanks for the inspiration. Yo, Recursion, I forgot to shout you out a couple weeks ago. Real quick. So Recursion was putting out a bunch of like content for what's it called? That Star Wars Destiny game. And recently they've been putting out some Netrunner stuff. Ooh, Unmatched too. But yeah, there's some Netrunner stuff on the channel, which is pretty cool. And it's the same sort of tabletop stuff with like cards flying up. It's really good. I'll have a link in the description. Well done. Via bans for the last 2 influence. Not a terrible option. Not that bad. Okay. So we have way too many cards. We need to start cutting stuff. I think Living Mural probably has to go. It's weird how I just want an Echelon. I agree. I think UAV won't work with so few Trojans. What do you mean so few Trojans? We have no Trojans. We have like 1 Trojan. 1.5 Trojans. Yeah, that's a really good call. Yeah, we're running way less than we think we are. I want a Steve in here too. I wonder if it's going to be hard to run for incidental value on HQ. It might be difficult. Yeah, maybe can't run HQing up though. That's what I'm thinking. I think we might just run out of value. I wonder if we want daily no, what call on cut cards. You uh I don't want to be on one Ika as our only breaker. I'm not a big Ika fan, and I feel like this deck actually is probably not great with Ika. 2 bio bands plus 2 legwork. I do like legwork. Oh wait, we can do both. Is this better than lat? uh yeah, yeah, it is. Is the purpose of deck disposable breakers, Steven? Yes, exactly. How's it going? Is it better than lat? Yeah, but you know how many clicks we're gonna save off of installing our cards during a run? Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's better than lat. I think I'm just gonna play an echelon. I don't think we don't have to play that. Carmen, I don't think Carmen is that much better than echelon in the late game. The thing is, echelon's really bad in the early to mid game, and ideally by the time that we get there, echelon will be worth something. Does this take up the MU? No, so we only have 5 MU. Okay. Well, we have to cut 8 cards. How hard could that be? And then we cut the most incidental strange cards, and we end up with a really bad lat deck. Peach's House broken, good in Arissana. Yes. It's almost definitely worth playing. The thing is, we don't get that much value from it. It's not like we're conduiting. It's not like we're deep diving. This is a bad deck. I want to make it clear this is not a good thing to be doing. I just wanted to see what it feels like playing Euler and Gauss from hand. I wonder what we're meant to be playing 3 of. Without Turbine, Echelon is really sad into 4 or 5 strength. Yeah, that's what the Mayfly's for. And we have Flame Out, right? But yeah, it's definitely not amazing. What does Rejig do? It allows us to reinstall our cards like Euler, so they come in and break subroutines for free. And ideally, that's good enough. Nanotech, nobody plays Nanotech anymore. It's also really bad the same way Echelon is, where breaking that early drafter costs you everything. It's kind of comparable, honestly. I don't know why people don't play this at all. It doesn't line up amazingly though with that 3 strength drafter. What happened to Slap Vandals? We're not. We have Mayfly. Flame Out Mayfly stim hack never dies. Always been there. All right, so let's cut the cards that are the least important. I feel like Jailbreak is a bit harder to play. Considering we're a different rig, we can't run that easily, so we'll cut that. We're different than the kid deck that can poke. Mind you, you can play any runner size. Runner size doesn't matter. Why are you playing as an Arissana Panic Mayfly? Yes. Joe, how's it going? It's bad. It's not bad. I wanted to play Panic Euler, and then we added the Mayflies, because it's probably worth playing Mayflies. It's a reference to Thrilling Adventure Hour, but I've never gotten that confirmed. I think I've heard that confirmed enough. Cut Mural. Oh yeah, we were meant to cut that a while ago. Thank you. We were meant to be on Echelon Ika. 49 cards is within the realm of acceptability. Nanotech probably got better with Vovo. I guess so. I just feel like breaking that early draft is so important. What are we rejigging? Euler or Gauss? Let's just assume that Simulchip is our rejig, and we'll call it a day. 47, we're getting there. Just a lot more joyrides for draw. That's too much draw, isn't it? That's too much draw. Look at this hand. Sure gamble, draw. We draw first. Yeah, okay. Then we do a draw, and then we play a Onicom next turn. Sure gamble to we probably diesel for 4. Install telework, hit telework. Then we have Trick Taka twinning. We're gonna win. Is Shintegis down? Zolt, how's it going? I really hope not. I really hope not. I don't know. Back down to 2 SM. Maybe they saw us coming. And they're like, it's probably better for you if you don't play this one. Servers are scared of this deck. TTS, it's so much work to get this up on TTS. Importing decks on TTS, I guess it works, but time to play Chiraboga stream now? No, we'll do some more news stuff, but we'll finish this deck list at least. We can do some test draws and see how bad it is. How long has it been down for? 2 hours? I appreciate you telling me that it was down as much as it seemed like it deflated me. Thanks for everyone today. To the stream. Big sadness. Same thing happened to Bahramu yesterday. Ended up just having a theory crafting stream. Yeah, we can hang out for a bit. Monty, how's it going? Time to reinstall Octagon? I don't know if I still have Octagon. Let me check. I might actually. I have a folder called Octagon Sounds. I don't have Octagon. Honorary Arkham Champion stream. Do y'all want to play Wildfrost? We can play via chat. I would love to get a Netrunner that just like runs in a command line. Netrunner trivia stream. I have the entire script and questions open for Netrunner only connect. I just haven't, like, it's a lot of work to get it together, film it and edit it, but I have it. It's great. That's all you need off of Octagon. Yeah, I know. Heard you were a Nasha Gorelist, watching your content for about 6 months now, and I find it fun and informative. Although I play only my friend and a game on Jenna here and there. Keep up the good work. Pinecone, thank you. Kaito pomeni Nasha Gorelist? Nasha means like of ours. Like you would say people of your nationality. Gorelist. Am I missing something? Wire run stream, let's go. Did you see this Pixelborn app they built for Lorcana? No. Is it unofficial? Like you can play Lorcana for free? You can play a full game Netrunner versus chat GPT versus text apparently? That's unbelievable. Command line Netrunner is the king experience? We once did like blindfold and Netrunner. I think like Hoshiko is a really good deck for that. Our mountain's leaf. Oh, Least is leaf. Yeah, Gore's mountain. Perp. Yeah, I should have picked that together. My reading for like Slovenian specifically is really bad because I read very little, but like speaking with family is so yeah. You're in the lobby of Pravdavos Consulting. Exits are North South HQ. Inspect server 1. Just invite Pat over. Yeah, Pat will be here on Thursday. Okay, let's just finish this deck and then we can do some new stuff and then we'll see where we stand. Maybe we'll play some Wild Frost. Maybe we'll do something else. Okay, 47 cards. Honestly, I think this is, we can close this here, and maybe we've been lucky. But this is like very obviously we probably shouldn't be playing Arissana here. We probably should be playing Lat, and then we just spend a click to install the Mayfly. Because like functionally, how many clicks are we going to be installing for this to be you know, how are we going to be saving in a game? Like 4 or 5? That's not great. Got to jailbreak Pat out of his day job. Not Lat. Yeah, that's kind of like the bummer with Lat is like Lat kind of fits a Hoshiko problem where it's like you can build something that is not particularly too focused and then it almost always will be better in the generalist ID. So that's a problem. I'm super new to the game and after listening to you on Neon Static, I feel like I want to jump past startup and get right into standard. Do you think it's too big a leap? No, Ian, it's not. As long as you get into it in a curated way. So if you go into standard and you go to this button and then you'd be like, okay, well, I need to get all the cards from Katara. Don't do that. Because that's too many cards. But if you can stick to some of the lists, I posted a list on a YouTube comment a couple of videos ago of like, if you're getting to standard and you have all of the Null Signal Games cards, which you might eventually, there's only so many cards that I think you need to proxy and print and actually like kind of internalize and start building around. And that card list goes down from like 300 cards to like 40. So I think going straight to standard is actually pretty reasonable. I think you could mess around with startup for a bit just because the cards are pretty powerful and then you get somewhere, add ashes, you get a bigger card pool. But in terms of like, I think the meta right now in standards a fair bit better and it's not that much bigger of a card pool. Again, the numbers kind of betray, well, they don't betray, but it's way smaller than it looks. Retechie is up. Oh, that's, what's it called? Reboot, right? Pixelborn's an unofficial app. Yeah, just build some enthusiasm, takes design from MTG Arena, but it's still an incredible app for it. Legally, how does that stand? Okay, do some news stuff real quick. Maybe we'll check in again. Intercontinentals was this weekend. We were lucky enough to jump in and do some commentary. Shout out to Thrantar and Axu, who got to share a microphone with. That was up this weekend. It's currently up on Twitch on Null Signal Netrunner is their Twitch channel, not Null Signal Games. And the Intercontinentals is a really cool format. We had 11 players. They each had 3 lives, and they just keep playing against each other until there's only one person standing. And it was really fun. It will eventually be up, I have no doubt, on Null Signal Games. They've just uploaded the EMEA Continentals. This is the one Continental I haven't had the ability to watch yet. So I have to catch up on that, but that will be up soon. And Continental season was, I think, a huge success, a huge success. I'm surprised the GLC is so tolerant of reboot. What do you mean by that, Kat? Legally Lamau. This also came up. This was, I think, up last week. So this is from PSK. Call to Artist World's Artist Colony sales booth. So many Netrunner events around the world have featured an Artist Colony booth. These booths are amazing. So basically, you can just set up and then hawk your art, your alt arts, your whatever you're selling. It's always one of the biggest targets. Not targets, but like it's one of the most exciting things. People always come over to this booth because you get to see all this lovely art. You got to pick some stuff up. Sometimes there's like trading that happens, but it's fantastic. So it'll be a feature in this year's World Championship, located next to the Null Signal Games merch booth. That merch booth is great, staffed by volunteers. This is completely separate from the World's Art Gallery, which they're collecting art from that. But in short, if you intend to play in the main event or you won't be attending at the event at all, volunteer staffing the Artist Colony booth can sell your Netrunner-related products for you. That's incredible. The amount of folks here. If you wish to take advantage of this, please contact us. So in short, if you have alt arts that you want to be able to sell our worlds, Null Signal Games can help you get there. So please get involved. I haven't read this whole article, so I don't know any of the details. Definitely you should. But yeah, check that out. It's really cool. Bridgman gets booted for Harry Potter content, but Reboot's creator is a full-on Jordan Peterson fan, and they're cool with that. Oh shit, yeah. I don't know enough about those situations, so Bridgman got booted from GLC. I know that they didn't want to like shout out some of his spoiler stuff because of the association with Harry Potter, which like, yeah, that's Harry Potter kind of stinks. I don't know enough about the creator of Reboot. What's the Neo format in Jaina? Is that relatively new? It's something that's been going on for a bit now, but basically it is the entire NSG card pool with like, I think 3 or 4 bands. It's been a community run effort, largely run. You can get more information in GLC. Yeah, there's a bunch of deck lists being posted. I think they're trying right now to get it as a thing that you can see on top of, what's it called? Inside, so you can pick it as like a legal format within Jinteki.net. So they're trying to do an effort to make it more public, so there's more support behind it. Rebirth's creator has been banned for a while there. Oh, I have no idea about that. Yeah, apologies for that. I'm not really knowing about most of that stuff. Works on the don't ask, don't tell principle, I guess. As long as Ravensburger doesn't develop the app themselves, they might not complain. Looks like Janet's back up for now. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Kat. I think we talked about this a bit before, but I'm not too aware of that. I need to look into that a bit. They were removed some time ago. Oh, beans. I have no doubt that the majority of people who are playing Reboot probably don't know about that. I don't think it's, you know, inherently an endorsement as much as like it is explicitly or implicitly endorsement. Trying to imagine Disney being cool with an app. Yeah, that's really bad. There's no way that's gonna go. That's like, they're, you know, classically pretty litigious. All right. We're saved from Wild Frost. Let's try this. Let's go. Are people enjoying Lorcana? Is anyone playing Lorcana? I watched like one of the creators explain the rules and see the demo decks, and like I think the game is impossible to get. It's worth noting it's a CCG, right? So like they're already, you know, we're gone for many people. But the game looks like some sort of combination of Magic and what's it called? That Keyforge, which is neat. I wrote a kind of scathing review of it, but Lorcana? Melanomi, what did you say? New runner deck. From what I've seen so far, like it's obviously the starter decks, but I haven't seen anything that's like particularly interesting. I think for it to be interesting to me, that's a really, really tall hill to climb, because I do not know Disney and I do not like Disney, let alone CCG, let alone CCG that's apparently in the hands of all the scalpers right now. RE. Let's go. Phil showed some Lorcana and I found it funny that Ariel card has a subtype of on human legs. What? TLDR, they made a smaller Magic in all the least exciting ways. Yeah. Yeah, it genuinely did not seem exciting. Like, I think it's in a cool way that's approachable enough that, like, you know, younger folks can get into a card game and it has, like, you know, skills you can learn that will translate into other card games. But yeah, it did not seem interesting. My wife and 8-year-old love it. That's exactly it. Like, I think there's a lot of folks, and none of them saying, you know, your wife is not a card game person, but like specifically with younger kids, I think it's a really nice entry gateway because it's so easy to play. Like, you don't get mana screwed or all that sort of stuff. Oh, we don't have Clot. We could play Clot. Falls in category is similar enough to Magic. Why don't I play Magic? Yeah, I haven't heard that argument, but that makes a lot of sense. It's my good friend Hams, but I'll take credit. I mean, I suspect Lorcana's starting cards aren't too exciting and complicated because their target market is younger. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think the first set's gonna be, like, that's what I'm more interested to see, is like what the game looks like later. And then are they gonna add Star Wars and like Marvel and all that sort of stuff to it? Like, it's only inevitable that eventually it'll become a Star Wars thing, right? Oh, the card backs don't load. But you sound corp card. Should have clarified non-gamer wife. All good. Yeah, no, that's fine. I genuinely did not mean it like that. I just, yeah, it sounds like that, huh? Why doesn't every game cater to me? No, I don't care at all. Like, I'm glad that people are having fun with it. I just, yeah, I don't seem to care about it. It's totally fine. It's okay, it looks fun if your cup of tea, but like there's better design stuff both coming and already coming. FFG has a Star Wars CCG license. I know, and they're working on that. Like that seems to be, I don't know if that's going to go well for them. It looks like they put a lot of eggs into that basket. I think that's next year. I think some of the stuff that they're doing with Gamegenic for deck boxes, like that actually looks sick. This is not advanced, right? Yeah, so I don't think we care about it. So let's just set up. We can draw once. So we can do Sure Gamble. Did they mull? They kept. So this legwork might find something. Again, very often the outfit's holding regulatory captures that kind of just stink in hand for a bit. But I think we can just get our money up because if we don't have a Flame Out, our early runs are pretty expensive. Magic already has Lord of the Rings, D&D, Transformers, Warhammer, 40k. We'll get Doctor Who and who knows what else. Yeah. Oh, do we have Pinhole in the deck? Nice. So the question is, how long do we wait for this to be a problem? I think we can just run this. But yeah, this is one of the cards that says we lose. I was thinking this the other day, right? So we have Super Deep Borehole, nobody plays it. And then of course we have Keeling, nobody plays, kidding, people play it. The original card that if they can't run in a server and they die to has existed for a long time. I'm thinking it's Clearinghouse. Like, can you just play Clearinghouse in Wayland Glacier and just advance it? Why are people not doing that? Like, Clearinghouse is a Keeling-like effect that goes faster. Can you spend the influence to play Clearinghouse and Egg Confusion? All right, I think we can just run it. I think we could compile. It's probably going to be cheaper. So let's just take that down. We need to get through and still have, we have one bad publicity. I don't think we want to farm bad publicity because then that's their win condition. We'll just send it. Star Wars Unlimited demos are out. It looks like an okay game. I have no idea how the game works. I've seen no gameplay. Card backs are sick. Boarding control. Okay, nice. Install a program from Stack or Heap. Yeah, I've read the full text on that. That'll be a Gauche. Fully break. Still has 6. If they crack the border control, they actually save us money. So they shouldn't, so that we have to worry about the next Super Deep Borehole. It's kind of actually like Keeling-esque. Unfortunately, we have way more time to deal with it, and we have 2 pinholes, I think. But that's the idea, is that eventually that's a problem for us. I'm gonna put this down to like bait out to make them scared. Oh, I'm behind on chat, excuse me. Face down corp card. They hit an SG remaster update. Why did you change the card backs again? Yeah, this is weird. I don't know what this is about. Kind of print my next corp decks face down corp card. The sleeves, they'll sell at Worlds. Oh, I'm really behind on chat. Wayland doesn't have Skunk Void. Yeah, but you have other things, right? Like you have Earth Station, you have that other one that makes it expensive. Andre preparing us for the Killing Ban with some prison ideas. I generally think it's underexplored. They have 2 credits. They have 2 credits. We legwork here, right? This is a pretty well-timed legwork. I think we could telework first, but there's nothing they res for 2 credits. It could be Ice Wall. Let's go. Super Deep Borehole wins games. It says on it, so anything else we'd expect to be ridiculous. We see the whole hand here. SDS. Nice. Extract. Formicary. Oh, okay, so they're probably on Managarm Formicary. Clearinghouse needs to be advanced, which means you can't advance your plan and click Cold Save 3 times. Yeah, but you slow roll it with La Costa, and then if you need to sprint it, you seamless launch it. Yeah, like Bod's saying, you can jam in a La Costa if you play in an egg. Like, I think it's not unreasonable. It's a spin knock. The games from big companies have a really excellent art. Netrunner has some cool art, but not on the same level consistently. I think the art from the Disney game is like obviously very good. What was in the remote server? Rashida? Or they just extracted it? I think the art is good. I think the borders are really bad. Like I think the card framing is pretty bad. Air Station Clearinghouse? Yeah, it's probably fine. You still have to worry about a pinhole, but who doesn't? Okay, so we need to get program down and then we Maker's Eye. I guess we do this, this. This face down card could be an agenda. I think we need to run the server 2 to force the shuffle back before they get more value because they need to get their super deeps back in deck. And we have to be slightly careful that we don't overextend because there's a defensive upgrade in there, right? I'll put this down so they can't safely hostile. I don't know if they will. I think they're probably just playing like 7 3-pointers. I love the art being so diverse in Netrunner. I feel like the art in Netrunner has stepped up. Obviously, NSG Netrunner has stepped up so much. I think some of my weird complaints about some of the art in Netrunner actually has to do with card frame stuff. Like I don't like, and this is because I've been looking at it because I've been doing video stuff, but like I don't like what the agenda points number looks like. I think that font is bad. I don't know. It's like weird stuff that I don't think ever is going to be changed. But like the art of the cards itself, really, really good. And now I think the art of the cards has kind of surpassed the art of the frame. All right, if we Maker's Eye, we could die to Punitive, potentially. We've got so much value from Arissana so far. I'm just going to send it. I've gotten a Borehill win once when I rested against a poor runner and purged a fermenter at return. Yeah, there's a Punitive. Okay, so we could die here. I think we trashed that, unfortunately. Imagine we stole an agenda there. At least if it was an SDS, we could refuse. All right. They have a Punitive. So they have to have 2 in hand. They probably do. We access most of their hand there. They played the Extract. I forget the other cards. They're not drawing ice here, though. They have a Forma Carry in hand. I think that's valid. The frames for full art promos are in dire need of update. I don't like the full art promos. I feel like they're cleaner, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I think the credit in the top left corner, Creative Commission, looks really good. Yeah. My group isn't printed out. Have you seen Project Apex and its art card designs? I don't know what that is, Tolovo. What is that? They drew? So that's a Forma Carry? I forget what that could be. All right, we have a lot of work to do. We need to sit back though. Echelon. So we're assuming that's Managarm Forma Carry. So a pinhole would be like the best thing we can draw into. We have pinholes in the deck, right? Let's check real quick. Just move JNut over. Yeah, we have 2. Okay. So we just want to make sure we keep our money up. So we'll hit this button as we do every turn. Oh, we have 1 pinhole in hand. What are we sweating? We have to worry, though, about Forma Carry, which can show up. And we'll get this down. It doesn't do anything, but it's fine. It's worth noting once we SMC or then once we Simulchip, we shuffle, and then there's no longer a Gauss as a 30-second card, which is totally fine there. AR created art modified by a guy? Oh, I think I have seen that, yeah. I do think I have seen that. They were like the really dark ones, right? Somebody printed a whole set of alt arts, or not alt arts, like new cards, and they had AI driven art, and their art was so much better than the AI art I tried to build, and it was discouraging. They overinstalled on something. So there might be an agenda in archives, and then if we run it, we die to Punitive. So the only way we solve that is money. That being said, they don't do anything too quickly, so we can afford to just like hit these buttons. Some alt arts are hard to read, especially on JNet, for an example, in Unsi. I think that's the one downside, potentially, of some of the full art, especially for Ice, is that the font gets really, really small. So it's just something that I don't like to bring to new player events, but a lot of players who know, the cards, they are not often reading the text. But yeah, the text on, like, Gatekeeper alt art is tiny. Forma Carry is so small. All right, that's advanced. We're fundamentally going to struggle to deal with this. It's behind a border control, so we need to produce a Gauss for that. We have access to Mayfly if we need to. And we still have to deal with 21 credits worth of ice and Punitive. So we're going to let them score 1 agenda. It's face down corp card, so it's an SDS or send a message. That's totally fine. They can trash our self-modifying code. We have a Simulchip on the table. We don't care. So we'll draw once. We're going to spend 6 credits. I think we can get Onicom down because it just wins against Punitive. As much as we only have 1 event in hand. But we have to force them to score out because 1 borehole down, 2 face downs. And once we have enough events in hand, we can run archives. 3, 4, 5. Let's see what they steal or score. It's an SAM. Let's see what they res. Border control. It's pretty bad res, so I think this is a forma carry, and I don't know what that is. Face down corp card. Junkie, how's it going? Yeah, it's really weird. JNet has just like rebooted. Some traces of issues. All right, we just don't have enough targets for twinning because we cut out. What did we cut out? We cut out UAV. So there's like one Taka in the list. Wait, what did we do? How did we build a deck this bad? I think we're gonna check archives here to see what this is. We're gonna have to discard some cards anyways. But if we steal a 3-pointer here, we're totally safe. And it needs to be a 3-pointer with additional cost. Oh, they can move forma carry? They didn't. So 2 boreholes are out. I'm a virus, and there's a borehole in the remote server. So now they're actually just trying to win, like on points, which, yeah, that's doable. Bad publicity is at 1. We have to discard some cards. I think throwing a 220 might be correct. That's gross. 6 influence in the bin. I guess a lot of people are nostalgic for the original card frames, but I wouldn't mind if we were something like Ashes Reborn for card design. Like, Ashes barely has a card frame, right? Ashes cards are pretty. They're striking. Let's say specifically that, because they're very specifically cool. All right, they're just glaciering out. They're just putting it behind ice. We have to figure out how to get into R&D. Without the twinning, are we going to generate enough accesses? We can run HQ. We have to produce a Gauss from our deck. With bad publicity, it's not that expensive. We cut out our jailbreaks too. Yeah, this just seems functionally very, very bad deck. This draws a card. That's important. This is a Rashida or something. Just let it go. Ashes felt sort of hit and miss art-wise for me. Agree, there's some really striking cards. There's some really not good art in Ashes. But again, NSG sets have only been better since then. There's a lot of cards that I would just want full alt arts from, so I don't have to deal with some of the I don't know. A lot in Ashes, they were not working with, like, you know, it's a different workflow. They weren't working with paid professional artists, and yeah, that's cool. Okay, so this is Managarm Forma carry. If they score this, they might be on game point if they're on hostile. If that is the case, though, we could pinhold the upgrade, and then we have to figure out how to run this. We could just pull a Mayfly, and then we'd probably have to run it twice at worst. Let's go. We might have to pull out a killer here, which would be an eco with our SMC. Ashes cards are very minimalistic card frame indeed. I feel it leaves a lot more space for the art. Yeah, I think System Gateway is really where the art, like the frame, stabilized, if I'm not mistaken. Synergy is weakest at art-wise, and even then, has some really good cards. Yeah, for sure. All right, so here's a Forma carry going to be moved. So this is a Managarm, yeah. Okay. Draws a card. So now we just run it, right? I think we just run it. And we always can panic out a decoder from hand if we find a Valenchow. We might use Arissana now. About that twinning? I know, it's really, really bad. Oh, actually, this was a twinning card. Yeah, never mind. Install the second simulchip. I don't think we're going to need to. Okay, so if we want to get through this, we can eco on top of it. It would probably be pretty bad. We can also just trace through the second trace and take 2 tags. I think taking 2 tags is probably fine. If they're on punitive, I'd be very surprised if they're on other tag punishment. I think without any resources, we can just let this trace fire. It'll be cheaper. Otherwise, we may fly through it. It's 5, 6, 7. It's actually not that much more expensive. Mind you, we're going to run through this twice, but the second time it'll only be 4 strength. Deal. Oh, sorry. Boosted the wrong one. I'll take tags. Ika deals the survey pretty well usually. I didn't run any of the numbers. I actually have played so little Ika, I don't know what the numbers are. So we have bad pub. We'll spend the money, so it's totally fine. First boost on Ika gets to 5 strength. I still think this is probably cheaper. Okay, all you. Yeah, we technically don't have 16 credits. We have 15 plus 1 bad pop, if I'm not mistaken. We're just going to use it here anyways. You can boost the strength with the Flame Out. Yeah, but we need the Flame Out for Mayfly because it can only host one, right? Like, we need Mayfly for the rest of the server. Probably. I'm assuming one of these is a Surveyor. It's a Valencio. We actually, I think, we don't have to break it. Oh, a Maganet. All right, well, we'll just do a Mayfly. Nice. We're doing the thing. Flame can pay for the strength boost on the first host. Oh, you're right. I could put it on there, use the money, and get it off. And you can boost it while it's on here. That's a really cool interaction. That's super, super neat. Now all we do, though, is install a simul chip and just run it back. So we'll be fine. You would still have the Flame Out for the Mayflies. You had to move the Eek off at that point. Yeah. Why SMC not on Flame Out? Because we installed the SMC way sooner than Flame Out. You can't move cards for free. We're kind of weak to Punitive. But yeah, you can only install cards on... I forgot we had one. You can only host cards on the click that they're installed. You can't, like, move it after. Mayfly? Like, this seems abstractly powerful, right? 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 We fired our ability 0 times. I think we just continue to take the tags. This cost us what? Oh, wait, this is house money. Yeah, whatever. I forgot this is not real money. And with one event in hand, we're kind of weak to Punitive. It's 60%. I think this line's okay because we don't have to run it twice. Don't NGO me. Oh, it's going to be a... This is a Formicary, we know in R&D. So send a message so they're not going to res the Formicary. Because this is a Formicary in R&D because we got that weird pause. So we could abstractly die to tag punishment here. So it's either click for credit to make the punitive harder, which they have to land 2 punitives. They probably play econ card punitive. The other option is we draw once and hope that we hit an event. If we hit an event, we have a harder time dying to punitive. I think click for credit is fine. And then like with Anacom, they still have to do 2. It's probably possible if they have an econ card. And at the Anacom, we have to hit the pinhole on the first punitive. So it's, yeah, we could die here. It's just like they need to have econ card double punitive and the first punitive has to miss the pinhole. So like not the safest line. Uh-oh. If we drew and we hit an event, we'd be a bit safer. So if we die here, we could check the top card of the stack. Okay, this needs to hit the We don't boost the first one. We boost the second one, if at all. We're good. Pinhole, simul chip, echelon. So that's why Anacom makes it really hard. They still get us with click for credit into double pune? Oh, they could just click for credits? It's been a while since we had to crush the math. Yeah. Yo, Rosenheim, how's it going? So now here they could second punitive. It's not amazing. They only have to spend 4 credits. Yeah, they're just going to go for it. That's okay. This hand is like pretty low value. Well, actually, flame outs are pretty good. You had 4 credit, they can just throw punitive at you if you don't take a credit. Oh yeah, they don't have to boost. Yeah, you're totally right. All right. So we don't have a hand. They don't have a hand. They have a hand. We don't have breakers. I don't think they have tag punishment. If they don't second punitive, the card is dead anyways. That's true. Yeah, that's true. There's no more windows here. So we have to win somehow off of, I think, just the few Mayflies we have. All right. Okay. If it can recover, yeah, we'll see it too big to fail here, hopefully. But unfortunately, the remote server also is trash. It's just a surveyor. 2 strength. Obviously, they can change that. But yeah, they need They definitely need a 2 big here. Face down Corp card. Rashida or Spin Doctor. Again, for us to check this, it only costs us 2 credits. Let's hopefully get some better money here. Yeah, we have Bio Bands. We have a compile that actually helps us bring breakers back from the heap. Bio Bands doesn't really have a great install here. So I think we just like do credit creative. We think this is a form of carry, so we could consider running R&D for single. It's probably fine. Most powerful card, face down Corp card. It's intimidating. We think this is a form of carry. We know this is a form of carry, so we want them to res here. Like we can always get an Eco down. Host break is 3 credits. 2 with bad pub. Lag is still bad. Oxu, how's it going? Shoutouts for streaming Intercontinentals. It's not perfect, but it's not as bad as it was last week. Mind you, Jaina just opened up recently. Like an hour ago? Not even, like 20 minutes ago. Oh, nice. GG. We probably should have just got them the eco before we accessed anyways. We fired Arissana 0 times. I don't think we should be playing this deck. Hey, thanks, you too. Yeah, I only had in hand on the puny turn. So got a bit lucky. Had a beautiful deck idea at work yesterday. Wrote deck lists during a break, only come to realize the servers went. Yeah, they were not great. Should have played Isla? Honestly, yeah, it's fine. Any idea would have been fine. I feel like Arnicom would save you, yeah. Yeah, you still have to send it there because we're on game point, so the punitives are kind of dead. You could hush, then you resed Formicary. Yes, I think hush would work. They can still res it, they can't move it. But like if they res it there, it's not great for them. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I saw Diogen posted this list. Thanks to the game. This deck would be better in Lat 1, Ari 0. We made very few runs, right? And like we'll do one more. We'll retire this very quickly. Like obviously this is not doing anything. Actually, let's just make it Lat. Let's just make it Lat. And then we'll see how much better it is. We'll see how much card draw you get. Compile? Yeah, Compile's okay. Okay, I'm going to keep naming it not Lat, and then we'll change it to Lat. No, it's not a World Tree deck. I think you could, but like, I think it's harder to build a World Tree deck. I think that's probably a better spot for this deck is to be World Tree, because we're just not getting enough value off of our weird run engine. But we'll try Lat, see how it goes. Runner. I think after this, we'll try the Poison Vial, Slap Vandal decks, which like also probably aren't great. One day hoping for a Lat altar. This one feels like a lax character. Not only does it feel like a lax character, the frame on the older IDs is like not as interesting as the newer ones, if I'm not mistaken. We played against Thule Enjoyer, and they were playing Formicary Managarm. I feel like everyone's playing Formicary Managarm. We have no Hush in the list, though. So that's pretty bad for us. We also have Burst Multi-Axis, not the best against Thule. I think we didn't win last time. But I think we played pretty aggressively. We were playing a homebrew deck, Rosenheim, yeah. Oh. Oh. Okay, just look lower. Those are interesting numerical values for these cards. This is actually a really bad matchup to change into Lat, because 1 core damage turns off her ability usually. So we took the wrong turn to change IDs. They mulled. Okay. So this could be anything. We're just going to set up a wee bit. All creative commissions, all the time. For what it's worth, Arissana here with this hand, we can actually just run with the Mayfly. Pretty fun. It's not going to be this turn, though. Bladderweight? How are you going to spend your money? This is going to eventually hurt. Thanks to Funky Man for the shout out. All right, so they can res this to duck this. Not only a Thule Enjoyer, an NPE Enjoyer, fully operational, really cool. Draw two, gain two. Huge value. Build your own ASIC group. Okay, do we have a way in this deck to deal with assets? We have one Parisha somewhere there. Hey, Dan, thanks for the game. Okay, taking one net damage is not going to be, you know, too big of an issue. Running HQ is probably pretty hot. I think they run Ikwa in the deck. This could easily be an agenda, and I think we want to check that. So we can just run it, right? If they res, we break for free. This install costs us 1. I think we'll just run here. Unfortunately, if they spend money, like ideally they might not be able to res both ice. I don't know if they're on harmonics. Let's see a Hendrick or something nasty here. Oh, it's a spin. That's okay. So then we'll take down the Bladderweight. I was having a blast playing your Breakerless Zaya Boatless and Startup. We don't trash this. We will deal with this. It's only in credit this turn, though. I think if they res here, though, we're okay. We can consider going HQ. I think you forgot you're not Arissana. Oh my god, Terrence, you're right. Hold on. I forgot we're not Arissana. I thought we could just install this for hand. Oh, we're meant to playing lat into this. Yeah, whatever. It fires. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. We on Arissana right at the moment where Arissana was the best option. Playing into core damage. All right, so this is not good. Fully op goes back to hand. So there's a reason why we want to contest the Spin Doctor. We have a click left though, so whatever they install with this, unless it's a defensive upgrade on top of the Bladderweight, we can go check it. And we can trash a 3-coster. 2-coster ideally. Go Arissana, go. Face down corp card. Time to let lat trigger 0 10s instead of 0 Arissana triggers. We would have got an Arissana trigger there. It would have been sick. Are they going to move over a little ant? A Formicary? No, they're not, but they have a Formicary on the table. They might res it here. This looks like a Rashida. Imagine if Thule had access to executive functioning. What is executive functioning? That sounds familiar. That sounds like a terminal directive card. A core and a blank ID. Yeah, that's going to be the matchup. His lat's going to be entirely blank here. There's a Formicary. Okay. So here we could Arissana out to do some kickflips. I do think it's a Rashida. So I don't think we take the meat here. They need this to be Rashida to recover financially. So this is 2 net damage or end the run, and this ice can always move around. So it was in front of the Spin Doctor. Oh, we'll end the run there. We'll just get some money. Yeah, they really need a Rashida here. Actually, fully op will be fine for them as well. TD card had a trace that did nothing and also did core. Oh yeah, trace like 3 or 4, and then it did not say if successful. All right, so they're protecting this. So they're going to fully op. It's not a Rashida. I don't think it said if successful, Neon. Yeah, Eric, it just said trace 4, do 1 core damage, which is hilarious. Whoa, seamless launch, advance. It's a Luminal. Oh, it's a Stego. Of course it is. Super cool. Okay, so we have incentives to run HQ. Yeah, the original one didn't say if successful, which is like a hilarious oversight. Yeah, that whole era of Netrunner is really sloppy on a lot of ways. Okay, so we want to run HQ here. So we'll not get a lat draw. We died to snare. Let's see if they de-res something. They obviously de-res the Formicary. But like if they res all their ice on HQ, like we can, it's fine. Stegodon. I've been having so much fun with Stegodon. They put the proofreading budget into the box size. In theory here we could legwork. I just don't want to like access a lot of things. We can't really afford to trash that, especially with a Spin Doctor on the table. I think we'll just play it nice and slow. They de-res the Formicary. In theory you want to run twice a turn. Here we'll just creative. I don't think we're going to be hard to get value from our Unicom in this matchup. Yes, interpret the text as if it said if successful. Yeah. You're like, you know what we meant. What do you mean? Unfortunately, competitive card game. Sync BRE. Still good. Hedge fund, they're back in it. They have a lot of cards in hand. I don't think we want to run this turn. Well, actually, no, we do want to run this turn. If they de-res a drafter, who cares? So I think we have to just send a legwork here. They obviously have agendas. They didn't know filtering. I think we'll just send the legwork here. We could consider putting the Anacom down first, but we need to have more credits here to access and pay the Thule cost. But as soon as we steal 1 or 2 regulatories, we're in an okay spot. Ablative, nice. Not that it's not gonna be a problem later. They also didn't derez, so Mayfly is relatively cheap. This feels bad. And now if they hit us with the Managarm on HQ, or sorry, the Formicary, it's fine. But they just traded a Mayfly for 1 credit. That's pretty good. If they move us over, it costs us very little. Okay, we'll trash that. Magnet, wage workers. Yeah, that sucks. That's a really bad access. Okay, so we'll run R&D here. Because we still have a click and 2 credits left. Stegodon can derez the Blade of Barrier, I guess. Maybe we shouldn't have ran that run. Wasn't there an SMC that only took up 1 MU? Yeah, but that was yeah, we shouldn't have ran that turn. That was from the champ deck. Cool. So now that we have their Formicary on R&D, this is where we want to tunnel. Excuse me? Weird. I also had some funny full art champ decks with missing trash costs, MU and more. Really sloppy FFG stuff. Had them replaced though. Yeah, there were some issues. Okay, so this is where like this one you kind of want to tunnel down. Like the Blade of Barrier at some point will be an issue. So now it's on them to like build a remote server and force us to run this so they can get better value off of these. I think we're gonna have a problem here because we have to do a lot of small breaking and we're not very good at a lot of small breaking. That might be the wage workers. We can afford to do Anacom Gamble, which is okay. Second ice, and now it's on them. I think that's likely the wage workers, but it might not be. If that's the case, it's okay. We just need to get down our SMC. Okay, Anacom's doing its thing. There we have the Ika. So we can Maker's Eye here. We should do it not last click. So we're going to do that next turn. We have to remember we're not Arissana and we're still playing Ika. At least this thing moves around with the Formicary, so it's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. We got a card draw though, planned. I totally forgot about our ability. They've ended a bunch of their turns on like 9 cards in hand, so okay. Yeah, it is a wage worker is good. Okay, so now they're drawing an unknown card. They had an unknown card already, so it looks like it's triple install here. So if we lock the top of R&D with Maker's Eye, the problem is they have Spin Doctors. They can't draw. That's much more difficult for us. Okay, so it can't be Bloop. But we can do SMC into Maker's Eye and feel pretty good about it. Oh, sorry. I meant to host the thing. Sorry. I forgot to host the Ika. Do you mind? That might be wrong, actually. Okay, because we have to do that when we install. But now, at least before we crack the SMC, we can move this over. So we need to find a real breaker here. The question is whether it's a barrier. Gauss on 1 strength is good enough, as much as it might be negative 1 strength soon. But I think we can just Maker's Eye here. We probably need to get the SMC down first, though. Is 7 credits enough? No. Can you beat the host ice from Flame Out? Yeah, you can use the host credits. You can also boost the strength before it leaves. So you can get more value in this. So if we find like a, what's it called, a drafter, or if they use their ability, we can boost and then move, and then it'll keep the strength. As long as it's during the encounter. Because breakers will remain strength for the whole encounter. I don't think we have to do much here. Worst case, they score out with Seamless. But they have 1 card in hand. So like, whatever. I think we just do draw, find a telework. Draw credit. We didn't play an event that turn. Feels bad. Oh, Rashida, very good for them. Fix their hand. Yeah, this is the bad part about Stegodon is like it really disincentivizes you to make value runs, which like maybe that's good into Hashiko, but it like stifles the sort of aggression that you kind of want to be putting off. Like right now, running HQ actually accelerates them to some extent. It's neat. Yeah, it's a really cool interaction. This card is quite neat. It's a very powerful card. There's a lot of credits on this. It's just like it only works with a small subset of cards. It works really well though in those. It's like worth building around, you could argue. All right, face down, server 4. It seems like the server reboot just lost the NSG card back. Has NSG released the NSG card back? Because I need a high quality NSG card back. Hedge fund, okay. So one of these might just be an agenda. We have to worry about the mana garms on the table. I think it might be easier to ignore all this stuff and just send it R&D. And I think that's what we will do. Whether we need the Mayfly, I don't think we do. Yeah, let's just send it R&D. Stake it on. They can only de-res a drafter. That's like pretty low value. They're going to do it though. Okay, it's an ablative. That is fine. So now we know what we need here. So we can just use the SMC. They said they would never release the card backs. Really? I kind of need it for video stuff. We barely have enough money here. This comes in at 2 strength. We might take some core damage here. We're just a bit short on credits. Okay, so this Ika comes in at only 0 strength, but this is what you can do. Mind you, we have to watch out. If they have another format carry here, we're in a really bad spot. Actually, like, unrecoverably bad spot if they have another format carry on the table, which I think actually is pretty likely. So, match strength of format carry. Yeah, we're in a really, really bad spot if they have another format carry here. We shouldn't have made this run. But I think that's a big strength of Stegodon. It's like really easy for your opponent to misplay into it because the math is like entirely different. Then we have to host it with these credits. If there's another one, we'll just take the damage though. Yeah, so we can boost and buff off of this. And then it's here, and then we just have to pay this from here. So we at least have enough money to like not take 1 core damage. If you find a sanctioned way to get a high-res version of the card back, let me know. I've asked a bit about that, the card overlay tool, but the combo dropped off. Ah, beans, okay. Jaguarundi. Salvo testing. Yeah. Trank. Okay. That's terrifying. A lot of times you want to play the 3s with the 1s. So they have a Jaguar into, what's it called? The Trank coming up. I think we want to run the Spin Doctor here, but we need to have money to be able to make that a threat. I think we just click for credits here. We haven't drawn a lot of money here. We have 3 Teleworks in 27. We're not going to get a free card draw. I don't know why it's asking about these end of turn triggers. Sometimes you'd see that it'd be like asking for play per clip at like really strange times. All right, they pop the Spin Doctor, so now they're drawing Unknown. That's good. We want to run it. So now the thing is like we can just tunnel R&D and they will get no more ability off of Stegodon. They put Seamless and 1 Unseen card. So they drew an Unknown here. Their hand is 2 unknowns. And we can run this server for 2 credits. That's the best we got going here. Second Spin Doctor. They need to find another ice for R&D. Because if they can't force us to run another remote server, and if we're just allowed to Maker's Eye over and over again, they have a problem. So at least with this hand, we can also like just tank another Managar, what's it called? Format carry. Once they get a Managarm on R&D, that's when we sweat. But as soon as we run this, then they move our stuff around. So we have to hope that they don't have like Seamless into something. So we might just click 4 here. I think we host this. I don't think we can get down to 2 hand size. We'll draw once for money. No, no good. And we just do credit. Maybe if they score out, we just send it. It's a shame they have another Spin Doctor. We just can't afford to run it because then they de-res their stuff. Okay, Trank. They're going to probably draw with this. I think they need to get out of lock. They need to get another ice on R&D. Yeah, that's a problem with Stegodon. It's like some of the play patterns it encourages are like super linear. Just like, okay, well, we can only afford to run R&D here. Once we hit threat 3, which we have, right? Like the Bladives are so much stronger. Where like if they resident a Blade, if they get back, you know, any of this nonsense. This is where it's a problem. Because now if they have a Managarm, like we have to pinhole this. And if we pinhole this, they get to re-res their Blade. This is where we get into prison territory. If anything, it might be correct to run this. Because soon, I don't know if they can like do much with a format carry on the table. Sorry, with a Bladderwort on the table. This is genuinely one of the matchups where I think playing front company makes sense, because we cannot afford to make fun runs and then the front company is annoying in a remote server. Staying on a Blade sounds nasty, yeah. Let alone it's obviously Formicarry Managarm. Like as soon as we run one of these servers, we have to spend 10 credits on a Formicarry Managarm operation, like the combination. Like we cannot afford to run the remote servers anymore because we just don't have economy. And if we pinhole, they like move it over and that's hard. But like we're kind of stuck. We're kind of totally stuck here. Like we might be in a really bad spot. What do you think we can do? Right? Like any of these could be an agenda. They might have a seamless in hand. Again, if we pinhole, they derez, and then they have an ablative again, so running R&D is kind of off. Formicarry will kind of be off again, and then any other Managarm on the table is going to be a 10 credit hit. Like, I don't know. I don't think we can... I don't think our deck is consistent enough to, like, win here. The best case scenario we can do is, like, have enough money to pay for double Managarm. And that's obviously really bad. Like, double Managarm is way too expensive. Like, I just don't think we can generate enough accesses on this board state. We need to hit a telework here off the top. No, it's not good. Reject click for creds and focus R&D. Yeah, I know. But then it's like really bad television. But like this is the only server we can run, and it's on them to make that, you know, a problem for us. But like, yeah, what can we do? Need to be lucky. Take the core damage, only 4 agenda points left. It's not about the core damage, it's the fact that this is Managarm into Formicarry off the table. And that will cost us the game. Oh, we still have twinning in this deck. Shouldn't be like that. Like, I'm not worried about the core damage yet, because regulatory capture, you know, it's a stinker. But like anything we run now turns on the ablative. Would this deck play Jupestead? I think this deck should play Jupestead. I think Jupestead's way better than salvo testing, and it is forces runs. Like, it's one of the exact cards that you want in this situation that forces a run so that they have to, like, deal with the Stegodon nonsense. Unfortunately, they're on Trank, which, like, that's a bit consistent more in terms of economy, and Thule doesn't have economy. Oh, they have Wage Workers into Ontological. At least they're scoring that out. Like, that's a really bad score for them. I forgot they had Wage Workers. Okay, so that means that they have an ugly draw, and they're scoring out whatever they have in their hand. But now we run HQ, right? Like, they res... what's it called? An ablative. And the biggest issue is our deck doesn't have consistency. Like, it can't run a lot. Like, against this deck, this is where you just have, like, efficient breakers and run a lot. And we can't do that. We're not very good at that, because we're on Mayfly. So the one fork we have is, like, I don't know what this is. I think I kind of want to run this. And, like, get them to get their Formicarry over here. But as soon as we run this, the Formicarry comes back. So it's hard to fork them to res 2 Managarms. Not impossible, but hard. I feel like we shouldn't have thrown it the Prisha. But I don't know what this is. Like, this seems really suspect. They seems like they've been really, like, getting cards out of hand. I think I will run this. I think this is incorrect. But I think this is better than anything else we have got going. Because if we run server 4, they de-res the Blade, so running R&D is messed up. Just start runs and jack out. It forces the corp to lose money. Yeah, but then we can't run anymore. You also can't jack out until you approach the second ice or you pass the first ice. But if they de-res the Blade of Barrier for 1 credit, like they res the Blade of Barrier, they get Rashida Mag. Like both of these lose them 1 credit, and that's not enough, considering how much value they get off of a de-res Formicarry and Ika. It is, it's not enough. We know this is a drafter. The drafter's on server 1, right? Yeah, it's on server 1. So server 4, we don't know what it is. But this is really suspect. It's probably a second Wage Workers. I don't know if it's another agenda. I think we just click for credits. Like, okay, let's draw once for a telework. Obviously, we should have done that in a different order. That's like almost interesting. That's actually pretty interesting. You got Conduit? No. No, we don't. We have Maker's Eye and Twinning, which we don't have enough support for the Twinning. It shouldn't be in the deck. Deep Dive would be reasonable. As much as we take core damage, we can like confirm the 3-pointer, which seems important. Rip the R&D drill. It's kind of hard because we have to deal with the Managarm Formicarry combo. They might not have another one on the table. Yeah. It's like the Thule text I don't think we care about. So far here, it's like, if this was Asa, I think we'd be more scared. So now if we send, what's it called? In Maker's Eye, we're on 5 credits. Sorry, 6 credits. This is 1, this is 1. So we have to click for 4. You know what you need to do against Stegodon? DJ Los? Yeah, DJ Los against Stegodon is like a fair bit better. It actually would be reasonable, and we could do it. It's just like this deck is not popular enough for me to be excited to do it, but yeah, it's really, really cool in this matchup. For what it's worth, D-Res effects actually turn on the Stegodon ability, so you don't want to be D-Resing, but if they're D-Resing, sure. So here we have to challenge one of these. I think we do just challenge one of these. And if they move the Forma carryover, they move the... that's a problem. As soon as they move the Forma carryover, like... This is, again, the problem with Stegodon, is that we don't want to be running, because if we run this, then we have to deal with a 10 credit Managarm. I guess then that's fine. We pinhole it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can deal with that. So let's run server 6. We'll use the Mayfly. Break it all with Flame Out credits, though. Break what? This? This I'm hoping. Xavier, how's it going? Okay, Ablative is down, so we just can't run that last click no more. So a bit of the Thule text like kind of matches with that, because it's just more click compression. As much as taking 1 core damage while 1 ontological is out, it's like not that big of a deal. Okay. No further. All right. At least we want to run a lot this turn. So now they're going to move over Forma carry. If they have a... No, they didn't. Never mind. It's a Bladderwort. What can they res to make this a problem for us? I honestly don't know if this is right to trash, because I don't know how they're going to duck a lot. I'll just trash it. We're here. Trank has to stay, unfortunately. Now do we know Stegodon isn't too bad? I think Stegodon's pretty good. But like, it's almost entirely Forma carry that's keeping it afloat. Ablative is good, but I don't think Ablative is enough to build a deck around. Ooh, they resed a Brun. Okay, there's something in here. So if we want to break a Brun, it's 5 for strength, 3 to break. Why are we running here? Because they clearly want something in here. We've already ran once, right? You don't think we should run here? So this is 5 for strength. That takes a 1 real credit and 3 to break. So we can take a core damage here for sure. But like, we made them spend 6. I don't feel bad about this. JNet, yeah. Cat, JNet's been weird for sure. Face down Corp and Runner card. Okay, so we can click through one of the subs. It leaves them on 2 credits. This is an ablative that they can afford to res. If you want to run, you want to run a lot. That's like the play pattern of us just clicking for credits is correct. We need more money here. But if we want to go through there, here we access with 1 credit. That's enough for Rashida. This is a very expensive run. But again, if we want to boost up to 5 strength, that will 4, 3, 2, 1. So we take a core damage. I think we go through here, right? We're never going to financially recover from this, but whatever. Keep forgetting about Tuesday streams. Magic button, how's it going? You got to hit that notification button. Hopefully your Tuesday's going good. All right, so we have 1 credit. It's enough to trash specifically Rashida. I don't know if they're on Ikua as well. Maybe they're on... No, they can't be on Ikua and this thing. If they res a... What's it called? A Forma carry here. We'll just tank it. Yeah, Stegodon. Nice. Yeah, that made sense. There's definitely an agenda in there. We have to take the core damage. Don't hit the Maker's Eye. That's fine. Hit the Maker's Eye. If we run HQ, they get an ablative last click, so we just have to click for credits. Should the Ika be trashed, or if not, because it's no longer hosted on Flame Out at the end of the turn? When a turn ends, if we use credits on Flame Out trash hosted program, it's no longer the hosted program. So I don't think it... I think you get around it. Discard down to 4? Okay. Yeah, I don't think it checks because it's not hosted anymore. At least that's like what I've learned how the card works. I couldn't tell you more about that. Yo, on the Null Signal game stream, they did the news section and they talked about, you know, the Magna versus Hush interaction. And the ruling to make it make sense says hosted cards get priority over the host. And then they said that rules doesn't really matter for much besides Hush and Magnet. But does that mean Saucy Magnet now gets the money? Like, what is the implication of that ruling on Saucy Magnet? Because in theory, that means Saucy Magnet you should get the money on the res because the hosted card goes first. Like, I don't understand. I thought they would go over that because Saucy Magnet's a much trickier interaction. Especially when you de-res it. Like, is the text fire on the res or on the de-res? And why? If you use Flame Out to boop eco to another ice, then install a different program into Flame Out. Flame Out will trash the new program even if you didn't use it though. Yes, because you used the credits on this and there's a hosted thing. Saucy gets money on de-res but not on res. Yeah, why is that? Is a reaction window magnet static, so it's a different rules interaction that no one understands? I don't understand it. The rulings are relevant because there's no dependency loop with Saucy. I don't know what that means. Sticks, how's it going, by the way? Okay, easily could be an agenda because they know that we cannot check through a Brawn, let alone the Brawn will become a forma carry, whatever. So I think we can let them have one agenda here. There's no way we lose on this board state, but I think they would jam an agenda if they have it here. I was going to say we have to set up for a Maker's Eye, but we obviously don't have one. So we have to play the remote game, which means that the Mana Arms we haven't found yet. We think there's one on R&D, that's all we know. I guess we'll get this down. Again, Lat's been useless, absolutely useless. The rule should be that you cannot install Saucy on an unresed magnet because NCIGS. We also saw in Intercontinentals that you can't res Amalia Zaloka if there's no non-virtual resources, and I do not understand that ruling. Well, I do, but like I feel like there's so many other rulings in which, like, the idea is that resing the Malia does not change board state because paying cost does not change board state. Malia says choose a non-virtual resource blankets text, but then how is resing ice changing board state? You're just paying the cost. Oh, that's bad. The Malia ruling was wrong, you think? It sounds wrong. Rahid, how's it going? I think it only matters for static abilities that interact with each other. It seemed not right. And like, I'm not saying that to like dunk on the rules team. You think I'm a good judge? Molly's trigger isn't a targeting is a trigger, not a cost. It was wrong. Okay, so it was wrong. I don't think the ruling is correct. The res is the ability in the question here, not Molly's ability. Okay, so you can res whatever you want. Oh, they're doing the 8-click turn. That's fine. I think the Malia ruling was wrong because res is changing board state. Okay, luckily it didn't matter that much on the game. I feel like the rules team may need to formalize the rules about hosted card ability steps a bit more cleanly now that it matters so much. Yeah, that's why I was like surprised with the Null Signal podcast because they're like, it only matters for this card. I'm like, I don't know if that's correct. The borehole bug was just JNet specific buff, I tell you. Wait, what do you mean, Magic? Because the res is a change in board state itself. Okay, good. Because otherwise, how can you res ice? It doesn't change board state. It's very much worth knowing paying a cost. Like, I can't play an event if it does nothing, because playing the event and putting it into the heap, I don't think is considered a change in game state. Canada Nats ran well. You may indeed be a judge. Thanks, Alex. Sucks to get a wrong ruling. Glad it didn't change the outcome of the game, but it's wildly hard to make rulings live, so I don't blame Jeff. No, I blame nobody. It's totally fine. Like, wrong rulings are going to happen. That's part of, like, sports in general. I just think it's important to go out the way. Like, that's what I hope I did to all the players that I did wrong rulings, is after Canets to explain to them why it was wrong and what it actually is correct. Because I think that's a bad thing, is if I watched that stream and didn't bring it up in chat and didn't realize that that was the rules change, like, you know, we need an update on that. You always find some weird new rules interactions at big tournaments. I know. I don't know whether there's enough players or why that is. Okay. So we can res this. They're on game point here. If we don't trash the wage workers, this is game point. We can always pinhole this to see what it is. They have one card in HQ. But if we pinhole this on archives, they de-res the forma carry. It gets re-resed. We have to take the damage, I guess. Probably not. Jet mentioned the day one bug on borehole where you won the game immediately upon resing it. Oh, early on. Yeah. Okay, hold on. I need to do this turn before the chat absolutely gets me. We have access to simulchip. That's like, it's fine. We have more flameouts? We have more flameouts. I think we need to afford to pinhole it. The problem though is like the pinhole is inherently very expensive because running is just the wrong thing to do unless it matters. Time to single R&D for the win. It's so impossible. I don't know if they have another forma carry on the table. That's the only benefit we have, but they installed ice this turn. So this actually might be a forma carry. This might be a forma carry. See if they use the spin doctor here, but they did not use their ability. They did not Stegodonis. Remember Rotterdam, one of the judge complaining about so many of us playing Bacterial because they had so many judge calls? It's an Ikoa. Okay. Do we win? Do we just run it? How do we win? Core damage doesn't matter. So we just have to run this. I think we just like simul chip for the Gauss. Yeah. Oh, the Flame Out's dead. It's empty. So we just simul chip the Gauss and go. It'll come in at 2 strength. I honestly don't know if we have enough money. Yeah, math. So we need to have at least, we have to run this click. Like that's the biggest issue. So if we run here, with the former carry doesn't matter. Like we just take the damage, that's fine. So we just have to figure out what is cheaper. If we bring back in the, what's it called? The little Mayfly, it'll come in at -1 strength. So it's 7 for strength, 3 to break. So that's 10 credits, that's not enough. So, Netrunner talk. If we get the Gauss back in, it'll come in at 2 strength. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's enough. Yeah, we just run here and we win. I did the math really quickly. Freedom doesn't say printed? Wait, the text on Salva says it teleports to the top of our enemy when run around. What do you mean, Rohit? How many virus counters do I need to trash a hostile architecture in a server with breaker bait grid as freedom? Oh, that's cool. Okay, so they derez this thing. This thing doesn't do anything. So we simul chip. Trash Gauss. Install Gauss for free. Fully break for 7. Leaves us on at least 2 credits and a click. Again, core damage doesn't matter when you win the game. Let's go Gauss. So they can get us with 2 Forma carries actually costs us the game. If it's 2 Forma carries, we lose. Oh shit, it's 2 Forma carries. And they did them in the right order. Nice. Wait, we don't win here. We forgot about Forma carries. Pain in the ass. Okay, so we take 2 net damage. This one we have to break for, what is it? 3, which means we can't steal the Ikoa. Yeah, this is where like Stegadon wins because you just mass it up. Dave Matthews. David Matthews. David Matthews. Yeah, it's not only it's Stego is the problem here. Yeah. Yeah. We're 1 card short. We're 2 credits short. Now there's a chance they can't win here. We still, I think, have to tank this. I still think we have to tank it. Thinking. So this 1 card needs to be seamless launch. We can't run this because Ablative will cost us the game. We can't run HQ because Ablative will cost us the game. So I wonder if it's right to keep this here because we want to run this to win. But if they have seamless launch either in the top deck or in their hand, they do triple advance, wage workers seamless. But yeah, this is where like, again, just like clicking for money is probably the best thing we could have done here. They also didn't remove the format carryover. I can't believe we didn't think about this. This is like the very easy way of how you lose. And like, I feel like the more you play against Stegadon, the less this should happen. But yeah, just the click oppression on cards in hand was a problem. Huh. We've already hit an event, so it's not like we're going to hit... Oh, not that we have events in hand. It's not like Anacom can draw us here. So this is... Well, we have to let it fire. The question is whether we take the damage or not. If we take the 2 net damage, if it loses a Telework contract, we're pretty upset. Is there any ice in the bin? Because if not, you double click through brand next turn. It can come from HQ though. But yeah, if anything, we have to run back. We just hope they don't have seamless. Like we can't pay for this again. We have to just run it back. So I think if that's the case, we end the run. The question is whether we have some incentive of getting this there. I don't think we do. I think we just end the run and we just click for a credit. Then next turn we can draw and run. But if they have seamless, we lose here. Yeah, 1 card in HQ, but they have a Spin Doctor. I think Server 4 easy is another Wage Workers. I don't think it's another Spin Doctor. But yeah, they have to have a seamless here, and they've played none so far. Oh, the GG, they have it. I wonder if they got off the top or they had it in hand. We couldn't have ran R&D really. With 3 credits, actually, they can't res Managarm and we could have considered running. Oh, they had it. Yeah, good game. All right, well, playing around Stegadon's pretty hard. But we need to play a better deck. If we had fixed strength breakers and had an ability that fired, I think we actually can get there because it was still relatively close. Did you have this seamless in hand or get it off the top? Yeah. Yeah, as much as the Thule Enjoyer, like in the Asa, like this is really, really strong. I think you always force me to res a Formicary 2 there, by the way. In hand. Oh, because of credits. Oh, because of credits. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You didn't have the money. Oh, man, yeah, we should have forced the res there. I was banking on you not having the seamless so I could go back with enough cards in hand. Yeah, I think forcing the res there buys us a turn, but it drops us to like 1 card in hand, and then I don't know how we contest this. We'd have to do like, we'd have to run first click. So even if we do that, I don't think we win. Yeah. Yeah, there's the Managarm. So this is what we thought it was, wage workers into some nonsense. If you had a Hush in your deck, you'd be okay. Yeah, Hush actually would be totally fine. Because if we actually Hush this Formicary, we'd be able to like do something cool. And obviously Lat fired 0 times. Thanks for the game. Yeah, this, don't play this deck. We traded to Lat on the one game where it's probably the worst to do anyways. But if you force the second Formicary res, they wouldn't have been able to advance 3 times seamless. Yeah, Andre, that was totally right, is that we had to force the res there. We were kind of banking them not having seamless. I think if that was the case, we had to pay more attention to the turn before to see like if they had the ability to advance this card and they chose not to. But yeah, for what it's worth, we were just 1 card short in hand. So it was still pretty close as much as we don't feel great about what we're doing here. This shows how Ice Destruction can be good. Though, Jin, I don't think that you need much in Netrunner to show that Ice Destruction is good. Ice Destruction is one of the best things you can possibly play in almost every meta. But like, what do we Ice Destroy? Like Chill Charm Bran? Yeah, that'd be good. This was more annoying. These you can fire. Like, that's the only downside with Formicary is like, as long as you have good card draw, which is like, you know, the Hoshiko issue, you can get through these usually. Free APOC. Oh man, that was close. That's actually quite close. That I do not think it should have been that close for us. En Passant is great versus Formicary? I don't know, is it? Why En Passant specifically? Why would En Passant specifically be good against Formicary? Because you run the Formicary server? I just feel like you don't have the amount of like fun runs against the Formicary. Right? Like if you run the Formicary server and they don't res, like it's so hard for that to be good. It was a tough decision here in the end. Yeah, that was really hard. We also misplayed. Like if we understood there should be 2 Formicaries on the table, we should not have made that run. We thought there'd be 1 Formicary, but 2 Formicaries made so much sense. Like we kind of punted there on the last turn. Like we should not have been in that situation. En Passant was best card in Intercontinentals. En Passant fired in 1 game, and in that game it was so amazing, and we got it on stream, which I'm so stoked about that. All right, this is not good. We shouldn't do this. I think we'd be happier with Arissana. And like, obviously, don't play this. The twinings are terrible on this list. We should change it. They don't res early and you usually know where at least 1 or 2 is. Yeah, I just feel like in the mid game, like running the... Like, you have to be very, very specific with your runs. Because otherwise, if we're running to like En Passant the thing to like check a remote server that's not very good, then we're like letting them de-res their ablative. Right? Like, I feel like if you just have more economy that's not attached to de-res package, like, it's not an issue. Like, admittedly, you beat Stegadon by having Pinhole and by having more money, right? And like, that might be more powerful than like having Ice Destruction. Maybe. On Ice Destruction, there's one of the sneaky ways Ari feels strong to me. People love trashing their ice when they're Trojans on them. It's a pretty cheap way to get ice into archives. Yeah, no, it's good. Just like the incidental damage you get is really, really good. Cool. Let's play this. This is actually, you know, has the Ice Destruction, and it gets to play a couple, Patrick. It gets to play some of the more interesting engines that I haven't seen in a long time. This like is the deck that won Intercontinental. Shout out to Man in the Moon, let alone Man in the Moon's whole family is doing well in Netrunner. But this is exactly sort of Ice Destruction that you want. We have Devil Charm. When you encounter a piece of ice, remove this from the game, -6 strength. That's amazing because firstly, Amakua, that's largely where you saw Devil Charm in the last couple months with Amakua to make it 0 strength. But then most importantly, anything that has a chisel on it, you can work it down slowly or just suddenly from 6 to 0. Just about deals with every single ice in the format besides like a big old Pharos. There's not a lot of, there's no 7 strength ice in the game right now, is there? besides like things that you advance manually. And then we have Patchwork, a console from Rain and Reverie that says per turn when you install or play a card, you can trash a card from your grip to reduce the cost by 2. So expensive card inherently, like card draw is pretty valuable, but getting a free 2 credits every single turn is a lot of click compression. It's abstractly kind of similar in some ways to like having, you know, the Paladin Puemo plus Keiko, which just gives you, you know, clickless value. But the cool thing here is you also have all these cards that when you trash them to Patchwork, fire. So Strike Fund now is free 4 credits. Steel Skincaring is a free 2 cards and 2 credits. It's really, really good. Tier, oh yeah, tier. Not that you see tier, but yeah, you're right. Tier is like 10 strength or something. 8 strength, maybe? Time to double chisel something. Blessed Pay of the Tournament, triple advanced pharaohs, double. I don't know if the double chisel was correct. I don't think it was. I think you just still run it. Because like he trashed his own cleavers, and maybe with like labor rights. I think if you didn't see his hand, the play looked super sus. But it was like the most fun play possible. And it obviously worked out. But it was weird. That corp deck, I think if you're like understanding that sometimes, you know, outfit just does not draw well, that is one of the prime examples. It looked miserable for his brother on the other side of the table. And sometimes it just happens. Because specifically outfit decks you have to draw well. And it draws well pretty consistently though. But sometimes it doesn't, and then you have like all the regulatory captures in hand. And it's really bad. He shuffled back one on Arissana and drew it at the right time too. It's so wild. It was so fun. Oh, Boosted Stavka, you're right. Boosted Stavka is a 7 strength thing that I think you have to worry about in the meta. What's our killer in this list? Carmen. Ah, yeah, right. Man, this is the thing. It's like, you know, banning out Bugalter to be like, oh, we're going to get some sort of flexibility and we're going to see different killers across the meta. And it's just like, no. People are going to identify what they think is the best killer and everyone's going to splash it. It's like, obviously this is less good than Bugalter and it's less influence, which, you know, makes it even more ubiquitous. But to me, like, unless Icebreakers are doing something really interesting and they're not just a numbers problem, you're going to see cards like this just all over the place. Where it's like, I think cards like Buzzsaw are much more interesting because they have clear downsides. The only downsides for Carmen are like, drafter sucks, right? Like that's, you know, it's hard if you think suddenly things are going to be very interesting. Rotom is playing Echelon. Yeah. And you see Noom, and I think Noom is a much more interesting card in terms of like making decisions. But like Carmen is literally everywhere. Like it's undeniable. It's the most common killer. Ferris is coming hot in the meta soon. It's a legit answer to double turbine nonsense. You just hush it though. Like if you're the deck that's playing double turbine, you're probably playing hush and then you just hush it. So I don't think it's a huge solution against Shaper. It's a better solution against Anarch. It was really fun when he stacked Surveyor too high. Downside, it's 5 to install. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it is 5 to install. We have seen the 5 install. Yeah, that's like the big thing. It's like people are struggling. Like, how do I deal with the big tree line? How do I deal with the big pharaohs? It's hushable. It's like not too intuitive that it is hushable, but it's hushable. It is text. Because you can't slap handle it. Might as well hush it. Okay, I didn't internalize this list too well. 3 Baya bands, a lot of card draw, Aeneas Informant, so really good against assets more than centrals as much as it works with Conduit. Let's go. Darn you, Hush. Yeah, Hush is really good. Oh, Epiphany. Probably assets, honestly. This deck doesn't have a lot of like very obvious econ in your opening hands. You have like a lot of weird cards like Patchwork. This hand's not good. We don't want an early Cleaver, Carmen. Cleaver's fine. Early, what's it called, is good. But here we want to get like, are we even on Fermenter? We want an early Aeneas and we want early Dreamnet. We'll mulligan this. Was playing a game in Advanceable Eyes RPC Glacier the other day and Hush with my best breaker. Yeah, tell me about it. This is like the same hand. Wait, what the? Oh, because it literally was the same hand. It's like, that's the same hand, isn't it? I hit the button. Getting some wild leg on my hobbies. Yeah, it's been better than last week, but not perfect. He says, and it doesn't register. Yeah, this is a much better hand. Hannah into probably an acid matchup. This is a great hand. I have not played Hannah yet. There's so many cards in the new set that I haven't played yet, and why are we playing the bad Arissana deck? Like, what are we doing? All right, so Epiphany says, first time a turn that we trash or steal, they get a power counter. They can use that to click, look at the top 3, install one of those. So they want to get an AR enhanced security out at all costs. go from there. Shinteki lag is getting rough to deal with. Yes, I think a lot of people are pretty down on it. And I think people are not playing JNet as much as they would like to. Interconnects was not laggy. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't perfect. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, this is a really good hand. Okay, so we're not going to play Hannah this turn. I think if we run this server 1 ice, like blowout, there's some blowouts. I think we're fine with the pink here. I think we're just going to check. We're going to obviously dirty laundry R&D to get the host flip, but we'll force a bit of little res here. We have some money to trash if we need to. It's a ping. That's what we expect. So it's okay to get that here. I would love a Baya bands. I'm going to go R&D here. Like worst case, we float 1 tag or 2 tags. We clear 1 if we hit a tomorrow's headline. It's a Maryland campaign. This is, I don't think we trash that. I don't think that's an amazing draw for them. Okay. They reverted the optimization that caused the lobby loading bug, but that's what was solving the lag issue. Oh, beans. Deck is a weird thing. What deck specifically is this? What is this card? This has to be an Ares for them to be happy about this res. Because it's not a Rashida. Find a patchwork on your first Hoshiko draw and it's golden? Yeah, we're in a really good spot if we... I think we still play Steelskin to draw for it. I played Epiphany to hand this week, got absolutely dismantled. Yeah, it's really easy to build like a deck that rolls over horizontal decks. There's just so many cards for it. Okay, that has to come down. So this play is like kind of rough, right? Like it gets them an Epiphany counter. They spend their whole turn. They install this, their res for 2, they gain 6. So it's their whole turn for 4 credits. Like it forces us to do something, but it's not immensely better than, oh, that's good. It's not immensely better than clicking for credit. Like ideally you ice this up behind something. This puts us to, yeah, this is fine. Yeah, we need informants. Informants are a lot of money. So now they get their ability. I still think that's an AR enhanced security. I think they would have wanted to score that out sooner than this. Top of R&D is unknown. We will play this. We can still hedge fund after it. Okay. Aeneas coming down. We want to hide that so they like misplay on the table. And we have probably the only breaker we want to install. We could consider chiseling this, but eventually we break it for 1, so no big deal. We've accessed a card, so I think I'm just gonna keep our credits up. We could, in theory, get oppoed here, so we'll just try and keep it up. Because we'll be really good into the mid to late game. We just don't want to punt. We don't want to punt before we get to the mid to late game. Yeah, this is an Ares. This is a problem for us. It's not a problem for us anymore. That was the worst thing that could have been in the remote server. For them, not for us. For them. Yeah, it's a really bad score. You don't want to score those. I feel like we probably could have got patchwork down and got the chisel to get value. Let's just try and play it slow. Yeah, that was like amazing for us. If that was an AR enhanced security, it's a problem. We have to play around this, so we don't want to run last click, especially because we have like very good resources. We can always like Hannah if we have a click left if we really need to, but she seems like she'll be important in the matchup. Might have disconnected. Probably better to open install the agenda than score it out. Yeah, exactly. I think they should have got the regolith on top of that and protected the regolith, because like scoring this out, this in archives is better for them than for us. Yeah, that's an agenda you try not to score. Oh no, Hannah, you went too fast. You gotta let the dog catch up a bit. Oh, we're back. Okay. That's nice. We can get oppoed here. They only have 4 credits though, so whatever. We got a DreamNet value. We're doing the Hoshiko thing. I think we just continue to draw. They have 2 abilities on Epiphany. You did not. I don't think you wanted to know. Yeah, you don't want to top deck a Beal here. Like, if we don't want to run last because of Oracle, I'm just gonna draw. Okay. Okay, cool. Now we can install the patchwork and then we can strike fund. Yeah, this is a big thing. It's like having the corporation, especially when you're bad board state, rip agendas off the top of R&D. You're kind of excited as a corporation because you do not want to draw a Beal on this board state. They're better than a Beholden R+. I want them in my deck, not my score area. Yeah, exactly. All right, 3rd card. So they saw the 1st and the 2nd. So if there's a Spin Doctor, they can like do something annoying here. They have a huge incentive not to have uniced stuff, which if they're an acid deck might be a problem. Oracle and R+ is so good. Oh, I need to play, we'll play Kyle's deck on the stream after. It's really, really good. Okay, ice on there. We always don't want to run at a minimum run archives. We could put the turtle down and then run this. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we have enough time to do all this. So we install patchwork. We install turtle. We click this. We throw out the strike fund. Gain 2. So turtle comes down for gain 1 credit. We run archives. You like some of the changes Jai made? Did Jai post the list? We have a cleaver. So then we can just Hannah server 1. If we don't trash, it's a free access and we get a turtle counter. Okay, the Continentals. If you can find it, Kyle, I'll definitely want to look at the differences. It's a calibration testing. Okay, cool. So it seems to be a bit of fast advance. We can always run back and trash this. So we spent 1 to gain 1. So it's a free Amakua counter if we don't trash it here. If we trash it here, we go down to 1 credit. We can click for credit. We might get Oppo soon. We can always use this Hannah for like tag clearing. So I don't think it's that bad because we're not on threat 3. I think we will trash it though. And we'll just take a credit here. Who runs that card? It's fast advance. So they're probably on like even 4-2s. Wheels click? Yeah, we did the wheels click. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was a wheels click. Oh, Tranquility actually is a bit of a liability to some extent. That's a really cool include in this deck because we can now run that server and actually make money. Especially if we have a second Aeneas informant. We run this, access both cards, gain 1, gain 1, gain 1, gain 1, clicklessly, paying 1 to get in there. They need an ice on here. Oh, I don't think they know that it eats a Tranquility. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I forgot that they installed that. You want to take it back? Yeah, this is really unintuitive. This is the first time each turn you install a card in the server, gain 2 credits or draw 1 card. You installed it as the first click, so you don't actually get the money. I feel like this card could have used a reminder text for a lot of players. All right, Biobands. Pretty good value. We could install a chisel and just get rid of this ice. I don't think there's a huge incentive that. There's probably better things for us. Everyone who's plays it at least 3 times. Yeah, I think it takes about 3 times to figure it out. So I think we just run archives. I don't think we have a good reason to buy a bands. Let's see if we draw something off the top. But we're churning. Pitch wheels to play bands for free? Yeah, but then what are we doing? I think we do card draw. I just don't know what we want to get down from this hand. Like, we don't actually want to install this. So I think we want to do buy a bands on server 1, just so we have 4 credits of trash. This is not working. I think we start by just like checking it, getting Aeneas, and then we'll buy a Banza back. It won't let me run. I'm trying to run, and it won't let me. Can I? Okay. I'm going to run some wild servers. Kindly don't res. I just want to see if it registers. But it's called Netrunner. Okay. Okay. Jack out. Click. Archives? Okay, we're good. All right, so this gives us an immense amount of value. We have Carmen. So I think we're just going to run this with wheels, and if we find trashables, we'll come back with buy-up ends. Oh, I hit the wrong side. Shit. No reason to do that. You can do that. Okay, so now we see 2 trashables. We actually clicklessly gain money, which is like pretty funny. Okay, so we'll do break. Continue. Breach. We'll access the other card first. Maryland. Okay, we knew they had that. Gain 1. I'll put this onto auto resolve. Watch it be a behold. If they pay 4 credits here, we're pretty happy. So I think Maryland on top of Tranquility is actually really ugly for them. So we just understand that's a click for credit button that gives us an Amakua counter. But I don't think we're a huge incentive to trash this because it doesn't do anything. It's not credit positive this turn. Yo, Pouch, how's it going? Okay, so the question is understanding what we want to get down. Like, we want to get our patchwork value here if we can. So maybe we still buy a bands, but again, it's just not great. It's not great. So let's draw once more. Hopefully we find a strike fund or something. Okay, that's how we win. Installing that for 2 is a bit too little. We need a bit more burst economy here. We can always chisel some ice. Face down corp card is financing play. Face down runner card is like kind of catching on. I honestly wonder if Hannah is worth keeping around because she's just strong enough. We can consider getting a Carmen down for 1 credit. Yeah, that's fine. Not amazing, but it's fine. I don't know if we're going to need a cleaver barring if they have wraparound. Otherwise, I don't think we need a cleaver. Oh, this is so slow. I will just click for credit. Well, instead of clicking for credit, I'd run the remote. So, yeah, instead of clicking for credit, we can run the remote server. So it just gets us a virus counter. It's just strictly better, just less clicking. So we pay 1, gain 2, and Amakua. It's just better than credit. All right, there is both of these. We probably want to consider taking them down. It trashes 2 things in a turn, but unless they get an upgrade here, which they could be on Mavirus very easily. Maybe that's a good reason to have Cleaver. They could be on, we know that they're on calibration testing. We probably want to consider bio-banzing this. Cool console. That's a good ice. That's really good for them to have that. So here we want to check HQ. Because they don't have anywhere to put agendas. So running HQ is kind of okay. Because agendas are going to get stuck in there, especially if this is going to be here for a couple turns. But we probably want to trash this. Uh-oh. That's a hard thing to install with Hannah. Okay, second cleaver, that's good. So let's start by checking what that is. We don't have Bologna money. It's worth keeping in mind. We don't really want to access centrals without 5 credits and the ability to do 5 credits. Spin Doctor, so they drew the 2 cards that they saw. So now running HQ is pretty good. We don't get a click. We don't, get a tag because it's not an unsuccessful run. It's just neither of those 2 options. With 2 credits, we can safely run HQ. I think Virtual Service Assistant is probably the most annoying thing here. Anybody know if the play sure gamble and 1 credit with Patchwork Strike Fund thing ever got figured out? Oh, I don't know. That's actually a good question. If that's a legal play. We can test it right now by like paying, oh, actually not really. Can we play a 1 coster? Yeah, I think so. They don't res. Super important run for us here. We'll get our DreamNet. We'll get Hosh Mindscaping. They might try to be hurting us, but that's just a value card. It is legal. Okay. So the second DreamNet here is pretty bad. So we can always buy a bands for free. We would make the run. We would be here. I think we can do it. The only problem here is we're actually kind of weak to Oppo. You need to do it manually. Okay, it is a legal play. It was cleared up by Batami Joe. Okay, cool. So I think we will buy a bands to keep their money down. At some point they have to purge. And so we're going to need fixed strength breakers sooner than later. The question is, how much money do we need to trash? Altogether, this costs 7. This is plus 4. We can always access the Tranquility first. So the Tranquility might go off this turn. Okay, so we'll use this. In theory, we need to plan out the turn better if we're going to be bouncing off of this. We also, as soon as we get down a Double Charm, we can face check into just about any ice. If there is a toll booth, we go through it. Or just pay 3 and the run. JNet has been worse. It is not getting better as the day progresses. So we'll draw 2 here. Nice. That's really good. That's a really good combination. Pay 4, paying trash costs. Okay, so we'll access the Trank. So we have 6 credits to work with. That's 1 credit short. So we'll do no action on this to get a credit. Maryland, we will trash. That does a shuffle. So we lost 1 credit off the buy bands, but we paid 0 to draw 2 trash. So yeah, dirty laundry that drew 2. Pretty good. I don't have a huge incentive to play this dirty laundry because we want to play it cheaply next turn with Steel Skin. So I think here we can actually just like play Double Charm, click for credit. Rude? That's fine. You wanted the counter, right? And I think we click for credit, throw out the second Hannah. Again, we could be oppoed at any moment now. And that actually will be pretty ugly as much as we haven't hit threat 3 yet. But we saw like planograms, so it seems like at least soft tag punishment. So it might not be unlikely that they have oppo. I think you need to if you're playing assets in NBN. That being said, at least when we challenge their economy, it's harder for them to oppo us and feel good about it. I wonder if keeping Hannah is actually better than the Chisel, because she is just like a pretty cheap, easy way to clear a tag, especially with Patchwork. I just don't know if we're gonna need all 3 Chisels in the matchup. We do have 3, like, what's it called, labor rights, so it might not be that dire. Yeah, Dirty Laundering server 1 to gain 4 credits, draw cards. Oh, so good. Okay, Tranquility Home Grid fires. They know what the top of the deck is. They gained 2, so 12 credits. So we might see an Oppo here. Again, Oppo's only if we stole or trashed a card on their last turn, which we did one of those. Yeah, there you go. Oppo Research. Just 2 tags. Okay. Yeah, I feel like we would rather have a Hannah here. Hey, Pat. How's it going? So I think we want to check what this is. We might end up with another tag if they did put out the Oracle Think Tank there. I think that's okay. But we can Dirty Laundry this pretty assuredly. Yeah, let's do it. So we'll throw out the Steel Skin. Look who should be working right now. I think it's you, right? I can't stream actually too long today because I have to get back to the video editing stuff. Server 1. And merely here, they could do a double Oppo 2 turns in a row, which we cannot keep up with that. This deck doesn't have amazing economy to keep up with Oppo, let's be honest. Like, it doesn't have Fermenter or Liberated. Like, it doesn't have a lot of, like, backseat economy, which a lot of decks value right now. Like, the idea is it's hard to Oppo someone when they also have Fermenter or Daily Cast in the backs. Okay, so we should always access the upgrade first because it can give us a Neos sooner than the other card. Oh, we have an En Passant. That's fun. Trank, we get a credit. It's another Maryland campaign. Okay, so we don't have an incentive to trash that. We have some tags to clear. Now, that being said, again, we now still have this button to run a remote server, gain credits, and virus counters. Oh, JNet. Okay, so clearing the tags here is not going to be a huge hit. Understanding what to do with their hand, though, that's a bit of a bummer. We don't need the Carmen, though. The Devil Charm is unique. We don't want to trash that. We don't want to trash that. Those cards in their remote server are fine, because we're trying tunnel off centrals. Okay, I think we can consider putting the Chisel just on HQ. We'll definitely clear 2 tags. I don't think we have to do anything cool with Hannah. And I just want En Passant, so we'll try to. Do you think they have bigger ice? Like, I think a Funhouse might exist. Here they could resist and purge and feel okay about it because they're not discarding a card. I think that's the inevitability we have to be ready for. If that's the case, I think we can Chisel this. Just want to see where you are. I'll send postcard. All right, and we'll get rid of one of the charms. Okay, so this is Chisel. Ice Distraction. It's not Parasite. It says it gets -1 strength for each virus counter, and when you encounter the ice, it gets a virus counter. However, when you encounter the ice, first it checks if the strength is 0 or less, and then it trashes the ice. And if that's not the case, then you get the virus counter. So understanding that you don't trash one strength ice on encounter, it has to be 1 ice, then it goes down and it gets 0 ice. Like, it takes a minute. Not at all. No, not at all. Yeah, they forgot to res the Maryland. It's fine. It's hard to remember you started turn triggers when the opponent's turn takes that long. /counter 6. I didn't realize that you didn't have to put the type of the counter if the card already had counters on it. Oh, that changed your credit pool. You don't want to do that. It's counter 6. Yeah, otherwise it's counter credit 6, or but you don't need to do it if it already has a thing. And you gotta click on it. Nice, nice. Okay, cool. Oh, no big deal. So we're now threatening HQ. We will trash a piece of ice. It's unlikely for them to be on Oppo threat 3, so like we don't mind trashing the ice here, but just opening up HQ gives us a really easy place to make a lot of value. Again, we're getting so much free card draw. We have only 20 cards left in the stack. It's like turn Like, we haven't been clicking to draw that much, and it's turn 8. I said on the Intercontinental stream that this deck does not look like it has a lot of card draw. And like, yeah, I'm just wrong about that. If you can fire Hoshiko every turn and you have DreamNet, you're drawing 2 cards a turn. It's kind of absurd. Where is my ice at? There's probably not more than 9 ice in the deck. It's another Regolith again. I don't love this play when it's not iced up. Obviously, they don't have ice. So we're just going to trash that and not do much else. Oh, Dirty Laundry's so good here. Oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, imagine we had a second Aeneas, right? Like, we run this to gain 4 credits. So we'll throw out the Carmen. All our Dirty Laundries have been 0 cost. So we run server 4, we get a credit, we draw a card, we keep digital. Okay, another DreamNet. That's just fodder for the Patchwork. That goes down. They get a counter. We can consider running HQ here. We can run here to get some money. Again, they have some money. We trash, so we might as well like access. It's fine. So we can run HQ here. We should always Aeneas because it is a clickless credit, and I'm a counter. We have to remember to do that. How do you feel about Patchwork? It is a card that, like, when Strike Fund came out, we were like, yeah, that's a card you can play. So far, has felt really good. It actually has felt really, really good. And like, it's kind of close to Keiko. Like, Keiko's that sort of other passive econ card. It gives you more MU. It's easier to play, arguably. But this one's at least way more interesting. Albeit like 2 credits a turn, it's comparable to Keiko. Yeah, it's definitely better than it looks. If you try to play Hosh offline and Brain Melts, it's not that bad. But JNet does spoil. For sure, JNet spoils you. Shipment, okay, obviously tag punishment. Okay, so we're gonna Hannah. It's just a shame that this takes so much time to do this like trivial run that, like, in theory it just gives us a credit and a counter. Server 1. En passant, I don't think we want to en passant the Chisel Ice. Like, if anything, we'll en passant R&D. Right, like, we've already committed to this, and if they res it, it goes down. I'd rather them res it, and then we can en passant something else. That might be incorrect. But like, or I'm not in a huge rush to en passant that. Like, I'd rather en passant. Yeah. Maybe that's the point, though. As offline is experience. As offline is so fun. I've said this many times on stream before, but understanding that you can put cards back on your top of your deck slightly sideways so that you can remember to yourself that you've seen them is legal. It is allowed, and I think that's helped me a lot. I think here, this is where we just drop Conduit, and we probably should have put a Chisel on R&D and just try to close the game on our own terms. But it might be hard with Oracles, so like, I think we just wait for them to flood. Moshing is an appropriate comparison. Yeah, this deck's not on Moshing. But I don't think you play Moshing and Patchwork. People didn't even play this with Bin Breakers, though, which is like kind of frightening, isn't it? I just want money. We could get Oppoed here. But like, we're slowly grinding through a deck. We're getting through 2 cards a turn, right? Clicklessly. So good. You heard Mimi Games is closing? Yeah, Rosenheim, I mentioned that early on the stream because I showed Shadow Gambit. I'm so enjoying Shadow Gambit. I don't want to talk about, like, I'm not that far in it, but like, there's a really cool, like, diegetic game, spoilers, boss thing that's really cool. But yeah, super, super unfortunate. Okay, they purged. That's fine. That's why we run HQ here. They did. There was a max deck that used it. Patchwork? I don't remember. I'm not surprised, but I don't fully remember that. Patchwork won Worlds a couple of years ago? Wait, I do not remember that. Not many explosions, Augustus. We've been like kind of grinding through this because JNet's been pretty slow. But right now we're consistent on track. With Pin Breakers, you had I've Had Worse, which specified trash do damage. Yeah, I've Had Worse did not work with Patchwork. Steelskin Scarring says deck and hand and is more general, so it's a lot better. So we should, in theory, run server 1 first to be able to get the counter. I'm going to... yeah, no worries. I'm going to do the Hannah on server 1. Just going to shortcut it. Counter V1. Last year, APAC, there was also Patchwork Hosh at 3rd. I don't remember that. That's really cool. Limes is Consume Friday Chip Hoshiko. That's Spombo. Oh, yeah, that deck. I thought it was on Nobkiri, but that might be right. That deck is a weird deck. That was like a very meta-tune deck. I don't think that was the best deck in the format. I think that was the best deck on the day, though. That was a very strange world because, again, barring the sports medal. Oh, this is so slow. Barring the sports medal deck, which like is obviously an immensely powerful deck, those were like better. Oh, you're right. Wait, I can't. You're right. I don't have a fractor. Ah, thank you. Okay, we'll just send it HQ. We have our cleaver in hand. I think I'd rather just go HQ. This is unbearable. Yeah, we're not charming the ping. You're totally right. Can I... There is something very frustrating about when the computer doesn't do the thing you want it to do. But hey, first world problems. How are you breaking ping? Good intentions. Oh, it got the counter. It doesn't have a counter. I forgot. Can't break it. Oh. Hey, Spark. How's everyone doing? I noticed that a while ago. Are you charming his strength? Not at all. Nah, definitely not. Nope. Oh, man. Ah. It's warm in here. One explosion we all missed was the one that happened on Janet servers. Yeah, what's happening? I'm trying to rewind and it won't let me with any sort of speed. I had a good weekend. Found a game store with a new group. Got to teach Spirit Island. Yo. How'd it go? How do you think Spirit Island is a particularly difficult one to teach? Time to twiddle your thumbs. Alexi, how's it going? Yo, I think did you send me an email? I think I need to respond to you. Excuse me. There's a couple emails I need to respond to. Waddler. I did. Okay, yeah. Let me respond to you. Sorry. I think you sent me an email right before CanNats. So I saw it and I was like, I need to respond to this. And then I got overwhelmed and didn't. Let me respond to you. I'm really bad at emails in general. Ugh. All right. This is good. I wanted to shout out Gordian Blade because I haven't done Gordian Blade today. If y'all don't know about Gordian Blade, it's really good. It's basically like, this is what Lost Geek did. I play this every day. I'm really good at it. I haven't done this one so far, but I think this one's super easy. Cool. See you tomorrow. I'm really good at squinting at cards and telling what they are. I feel like that version of the lines one, I think is the hardest one that does the abstract sketch. I thought we would buy enough time on Gordian Blade to not do this. Yeah, I think most people got on one. Yeah, from original core set, that one has a very distinct color pattern. The Chitana one, I think, has been the hardest one for the last couple days, but that's because I don't know what the art on Chitana looked like. So I just started guessing Jinteki Ice that I do not remember what they looked like. And Chitana was one of them. Absolutely high weight, but one of the other people there already knew it, and the new players seem to understand the concepts well enough to struggle with the strategy, not the rules. Very cool. I know that's a game I'd definitely like, but every time I've been introduced to it, it's just been like not a great teach, or like we haven't had the time to sink to it, and I understand it's everyone's darling game. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect and reconnect. And please, I hope they don't leave. Oh no, they left. Our game is gone. Our game is gone, right? Did we both leave at the same time? Well, if you both leave at the same time, the room disappears, which is a bummer. Because we had a really cool game there, and we were about to transition to a win condition. Yeah, it's gone. I got kicked after you disconnected. Oh, you got kicked for inactivity? Paul, I'm so sorry. I tried to reconnect. I disconnected. Yeah, that was going to get bad. It's going to get worse. You lost your game as well? As in, like, you got booted or you just lost naturally? I've taught about 50 different games to my online group at this point in Spirit Island around 6 times, so I've practiced. It's really fun watching someone who has practiced teaching a game. Do you know why JNet's so slow sometimes? Do you know the devs? Are they understaffed, or what can we pay to make the problem go away? The devs for JNet don't take money for their dev time, from my understanding. They take money to do server. They pay for servers. You can donate on JNet. If you go to the About page, it tells you how they take money. Mind you, MTG Red is the current owner, technically. He's the person who set it up. I don't think he works on it anymore. So the development team is like Lost Geek and a bunch of other folks. So you find the names here. Pinsel Warwick, DeKelner, Cubic161, primary contributors. And then a lot of the code base is public. It's on GitHub. You can do it. But if you want to donate, you can donate to mtgred@gmail.com, who has the PayPal. And then once you donate, your name shows up on this list of people, and you have access to alt arts on JNet. So I recommend to do that. Do I know what's going on? No idea. It's been bad. And it's been worse, and it's been not great recently. I know they've been doing a bunch of changes and reverting changes to try and fix it. So obviously it's on their radar, but I'm not a JNet dev. It's also worth noting JNet is not Null Signal Games. It's a separate group. But the money, if you want to donate, will not go to dev time. It goes to support. So yeah. Yeah, it looks like everyone might have got booted. When we left, there was a whole bunch of games that had one person in them. So yeah. Almost all the active games, only one person. Yeah, I think we had an issue there. I had a blown in hand and couldn't find my ice or anything. Yeah. Something cloud versus web sockets. I needed to not screw that early Oracle and let you steal it so we could have been at threat 3. Yeah, Paul, I think you needed to overinstall the Oracle with the Regolith. I think unicing a Regolith is just a pretty dodgy play because you spend your whole turn to gain 4 credits. If all you need is money, that's not what you want to do. Admittedly, I trash it and turns on your abilities, so it's still like a 7 credit swing. It's not the worst. But if you put that Regolith behind a ping, you actually get the Regolith. I think in the most recent Null Signal podcast, Lost Geek mentioned that anyone who knows Clojure and wants to work on it can reach out. Yeah, it's always been like that because the GitHub is like open, but he did a call to action. On that note, I think that's going to be it for today. Shout outs again. Lost Geek was on the Null Signal Station podcast talking about some balance stuff. Really interesting, and Lost Geek does a lot for the community. Shout outs to the balance team. Gordian Blade is huge as well. But I think that's going to be it for today. It's not running well, and we'll be back on Thursday with Pat. I'm going to go do some video editing so we can get the CanNet stuff out soon enough. But yeah, not the longest stream. We've only been live for about 3 hours. Actually, that's not too bad. Noah told me on Dorks the current issue suddenly has started and they're not sure why. There was actually a while ago that when JNet for like a day or two was incredibly slow, it had to do something with like a Bitcoin operation or something that was infecting their server. As technical as that answer is, don't quote me on it, citation needed, but that's what I heard, at least from Worm was talking about it. Mind you, Worm is one of the big JNet devs as well. That's yeah. It's a Janka David deck trying to lean into trashables and the top deck manipulation. Thanks for the game. Hey, Paul, thanks for the game as well. Sorry that it ended like that. One of the overall issues is that JNet doesn't have a great setup for in-depth metrics and tracing. So if you can't reproduce an issue locally on your own machine, it's super hard to debug. Beans. Yeah, I don't know Clojure. I've opened it up and looked at the GitHub to see how like cards are coded, and I have a comp sci background, so it didn't seem like impenetrable, but I know nothing about Clojure, so what can I do? Thanks for stream, always a blast. Hey Leon, thanks so much for dropping by. Glad you enjoy. Get well soon, JNet. Yeah, I hope JNet is running better in the near future. There's a lot of folks that put a lot of work behind the scenes, obviously, so not trying to be pessimistic at their work. That's obviously amazing. Is Apple Podcasts available for Android apps as well? Oh, I have no idea. I just Googled Null Signal Station and it came up here. I don't have Apple products. I listen to them on Spotify. They're up everywhere, basically, podcasts are. But yeah, this is just a way for me to remember to shout it out. But I don't know anything about Apple Podcast. Spotify has them, though. And I don't know where else they posted. I don't know if it's on the Null Signal Games website. Google Podcasts or Pocket Casts. Cool. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll be back on Thursday. I'm going to get some video editing time in today, which is great. Got a lot of work to do. Need to make sure that I get the decks out, the videos out before they ban Hoshiko. I really enjoyed your video with Izzy. Hearing you talk about strategy was super insightful. Let's have them back. Yeah, at some point. I'd love to do that. Izzy has been doing some real good competitive Netrunner stuff and just lives around the corner. They come up to play at our events, which is great. Izzy's great. Cool. Take care, y'all. We'll be back on Thursday. Ciao.